Hey guys! Welcome to Tales on Tap, the place where good friends get together and share stories about staying too long within the Deepwood Hollow, probably longer than should have done. Erecting a tent in a library because that's a normal thing to do, and then entering a kaleidoscopic battlefield to face an enemy that has plagued your campaign for many months. Finally be successful for it to hurt even more. I hope that you're all doing well. Thank you so much for joining us again.
Well, I was.
Yeah. I was genuinely quite excited.
Thank you so much for joining us. We really do appreciate you guys stopping in. Tonight's episode is sponsored, as always, by Valkyrie RPG. If you haven't checked them out already, make sure you hit the link downstairs. The website is valkyrie-rpg.co.uk. You can find a plethora of many things. That didn't make sense at all, did it?
Sure did. Keep going. Keep going.
Anyway,
you got this.
Dice.
A plethora of
lots of them.
Yeah, dice. Many other things to do with D&D, such as dice, apparel, roll trays, anything that you need, such as source books. They've got loads of stuff. Use Tales 10 at checkout to get 10% off store-wide purchases, apart from subscription services. So, before we get into any further announcements, let's say hello to everyone. Say hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
So, big session last week.
Like Simon Says.
Oh God.
Maybe aware.
This is like
It really
Simon
is.
Says.
Like
Translation, this is like Simon Says.
Weird.
Hello.
So,
I don't know.
Evan is still on the moon. Internet issues have been plaguing him for weeks at this point, but we're going to soldier on regardless. So, a few important announcements. If you haven't subscribed to any of our socials or YouTube channel, then you need to do that. We're pumping out some really cool content recently, and so much so. There's a really cool video that we put out last week. We went to the UK Game Expo the week before last, and we were asking members of the public to make their character assumptions based on these guys'... sorry, I pointed the other way. These guys, they're character portraits with no other explanation, nothing else, just given
those things.
the pieces of art, and it was really fun. We've since edited that video, and it is on our YouTube currently, and if you haven't seen it yet, make sure you head over there to watch that, because it's fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
It's
good fun.
So good. But also, while you're there, hit that subscribe button, make sure the notification bell's on, and so that you're keeping on top of all Tales on Tap content on YouTube. We're also live on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. If you have any of those platforms, make sure you head over and click follow on all of those, because we're pumping out loads of content over the next few months. Also, thank you for joining us. You don't have to pay to be here. If you do want to subscribe to the channel, then by all means you can hit that purple bell, that purple button down below. I'm not doing well today. I finished work.
Platforms,
I know. I will. In my defense, I finished work an hour ago, nearly fell asleep half an hour ago, and I've been dying since.
Oh, not good.
So, if you want to hit that subscribe button, make sure that you do. If you don't have to pay to be here, but if you, by all means. But if you have an Amazon Prime subscription, you can link your Twitch account to that, and then you get one free subscription every month as well. So free money, and where better to spend it than with those fucking idiots. Also, if you are in the market to get an art commission done or a piece of art done for a family member or friend, whether that's your D&D character, whether it's your pet dog, whether it's...
I don't draw dogs. Don't turn to me for dogs.
Never said
I do dog. I do
Very
dog.
specific.
I
don't draw dogs.
Bro.
But I don't do realism. But
I can do realism.
If you have an art, if you want a piece of art doing and you like the art pieces that you see on our stream, then by all means reach out to us on Instagram. We'll put you in touch with one of our fabulous artists, and we can get that arranged for you. Also, we have got loads of Discord content. There's a Discord link downstairs as well. Make sure you click that, hit the follow button, join the Discord channel, and every time we go live and post on socials and all that kind of fun stuff, it will be updated there as well. And we're trying to grow a really fun community, so if you haven't already joined the Discord, then join that, and then you can speak to us every other day that we're not streaming and ask us really important questions like, why is Ash's hair blue, and stuff like that. So cool.
We're always in there pissing around.
Before we get into tonight's session, because I always forget this bit, and I refuse to forget this week,
I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of
Natalie
you.
and Dan, can you roll me a d20 please, because we need to know who's doing notes this week.
I'm going to
20,
pick
let's see.
my little ducky dice.
Do the ducky dice.
Oh, you've got ducky dice now too, don't you?
Yeah.
got one ducky dice, and that is going back in the bag because that was
Dan's looking incredibly pleased with himself.
Okay, Dan, what did you get?
I mean, I'm happy with an 11. So.
An 11?
Okay. Maybe a little bit
Natalie,
too
what
pleased
did you
with
get?
himself.
As I said, that's
I
going
always
back
look
in
way
the
too pleased
bag.
with
It was
myself.
a nat 1.
Ooh.
Ducky dice goes
Next
back.
2
Hey,
weeks.
we're getting them out of the way. We're getting them out of the way. It's all fine.
Rainbow dice for the win.
Hey, that's good.
So Natalie, if you could take notes this week for me, you will
No
be
problem.
recapping next week. So, as most of you have probably noticed at this point, the music has been a little bit different for the intro to this session, and the intro to this session purely based on what happened last week and what is to come in tonight's session. Stay tuned. Now that we know who's doing the recap, why don't we just start playing some D&D, guys? Does that sound like fun?
Yeah, that sounds
Yeah,
good.
sure.
It's scary.
Amazing.
We're here for.
Guys, if you haven't already, make sure you go get a drink quickly, get yourself relaxed, comfortable as we jump into tonight's session. Tails on tap.
After finding Killian a bloodied mess on the floor, freeing him and bringing him back to the rest of the group who were waiting at yet another door leading deeper into Sashbay's corrupted little hideaway, we decided to take a moment and think of what to do next. Seeing Killian in such a state and Ash in her predicament, Hallie and Clovis suggested that we slow down a bit and maybe rest before rushing into another unknown situation.
Evan,
Hallie seemed adamant.
Evan, given your internet issues, would you prefer it if I read the recap for you, given the internet breakage? If not, I'm happy for you to do it.
It's periodic, but if you just keep rolling with it, it's
I
manageable.
mean, it
But
causes
it might take
problems
forever if
Alright.
he has
either way
to keep
because
pausing.
I mean, either way, it's going to cause problems.
No, I mean, Dan can read it.
I mean, I could read your recap if you wanted, but if you want to carry on, you carry on, buddy.
Yeah, let me continue posting it then.
Okay, that's fine.
While he's continuing posting it, I want to just remind you that there is a giveaway going on right now. So if you post an NPC into the NPC giveaway channel on our Discord, which is below, we will be doing Last Order's Wendan.
Yeah.
Okay,
Soon,
on the
some
next
point.
Last Orders, we
in the
will be pulling it.
Sorry, I didn't know you said when, Dan. I have no idea. In the next few weeks.
Okay, so in the next few weeks, we will be pulling the thing. We're all going to be there to discuss and compare all the NPCs put into the giveaway, and then whoever wins will be getting an art commission and a little matching chibi of whatever you want. So get posted.
Nice.
Amazing. So, I do apologise. This is going to be a bit of a different recap, as I will be pulling on the mask of Michael.
Embodying the somber tones of Michael.
After finding Killian a bloodied mess on the floor, freeing him and bringing him back to the rest of the group, we were waiting at yet another doorway, leading deeper into Zashbay's corrupted little hideaway. We decided to take a moment and think what to do next. Seeing Killian in such a state and Ash in her predicament, Hallie and Clovis both suggested that we slow down a bit and maybe rest before rushing into another unknown situation. Hallie seemed adamant on wanting to have a long rest, so that all of us could be at our full strength before venturing further, and although Clovis showed his concern for what might have happened to the material plane in the meantime, he too wanted to take the gamble. I can't say, however, that Jove, who throughout this whole journey has been against rushing into things, or even coming here in the first place, was pleased to hear about this recent change of mind. He instead wanted answers as to why their opinions had changed. As per usual, this discussion over strategy, like so many others, got quite heated as it carried on, and in particular between Jove and Clovis. From what I can tell from the weeks I've spent with them, they aren't so different from one another. Most of the time, they seem to share the same ideas and intents, but express them in different ways. I don't know. Maybe that's what happens when the minds of a warrior and a trickster meet. Eventually, we settled on taking the gamble of having a long rest, but I must admit that some of Jove's words stuck with me. Throughout the talk of gods, devils, and demons, and us perhaps not being strong enough to deal with what lied ahead of us, I couldn't help but feel like there was more that I could do. Despite Hallie's encouraging words about our potential, I still felt lacking. Jove's plea for allies kept ringing in my head, and so, when the conversation had ended, I decided to do something stupid as I stepped away from the group. Okay, I realise there's a running theme here of me going out of my way to take unnecessary risks, but what else am I supposed to do? If what I've come to believe is true, and I in fact was the enemy before I hit the ground, then I need to do everything in my power to make sure that these people, the people I now follow into battle, have every advantage they can get their hands on. Gods know that I most likely do the same if I was... Gods know I've most likely done the same for the other side. Anyway, I was walking away from the group, and Ash followed me. And once we'd gotten deeper into the floriated hallway, she decided to confront me about what my plan was. I told her about the second voice in my head, the one connected to my blade, and that if I was supposed to fight evil, and were undermanned, maybe a little evil of our own, it'd help the odds. Suffice it to say, she didn't agree. I'll spare you the details of what followed, but what followed was a conversation that took me by surprise. Despite everything Ash had recently found out about me and her, she still sees good in me, even when I cannot see it myself. And the conversation changed my mind for calling for darkness, at least for the time being. As I was about to sheath my sword and start heading back to the others with Ash, I felt this strange feeling of resistance before noticing something. Black tendrils reached out from the pommel into my hand before disappearing back to the sword. I guessed that it was something else I had to add to the list, to the beating of a heart and whispers in the night. Once I'd gotten back to the rest of the group, we all decided to barricade ourselves in the library. Clovis performed some kind of spell that would alert us of anyone approaching. Clovis performed some kind of spell that would alert us of anyone approaching, whilst the rest of us took our places inside the tent. After a long rest, we packed up our things and continued onward through the hallways and rooms of Zashbe's home, ready to beat her to shit if needed. It didn't take long until we came upon a new room with yet another puzzle. Inside were 4 pedestals, each corresponding in colour with the strange orbs that I need to slow down. Each corresponding in colour with the strange orbs that we had received from our previous trial, and 2 statues depicting people, one holding a scale in one hand and an empty palm facing upwards, and the other holding the weight of some kind in the other hand, and a black orb in the other. Realising that Job's orb is likely needed to be placed in the other statue's hand, as it didn't correspond with any of the coloured pedestals, we all took our positions, and as we did, the orbs flew out of our hands and into their rightful places. At first it seemed nothing was happening, but then we all got hit by a bright light and shunted into another place. When finally we got our bearings, we saw her. Zashbe. Kneeling in the middle of the room, deep in some kind of ritualistic trance. Around the room we saw elves. Eladrin elves. Each one corresponding to a season. Strung up like puppets by some kind of magic. And our friend, Feathers, suffering the same fate. It seemed like Zashbe had been behind the mysterious weather changes all along. Instantly, battle broke out, and it seemed like this was going to be a fight for the ages. Zashbe not only was able to channel the essence of her victims, but also summon a blighted scythe to drain us of our energy, and thereby regaining her own.
Bitch.
Even though I just recently found out about my connection to magic, instinct took over as I channeled my new power, infusing my blade with dark light, preventing Zashbei from not only from preventing Zashbei from regaining her strength. Whilst Clovis and Ash did their best to break the connection between Zashbei and the elves, unfortunately the magical strings tethering them to the witch only regrew, and due to Feather's incorporeal form, Ash's protection ward couldn't take effect. Realizing that the connection couldn't be severed by magical means, Hallie did the one thing none of us had thought of as she began to end the elves' misery by striking them down. That didn't make sense. Striking them down. For a moment, it seemed as if we finally had the upper hand, as Zashbei's power seemed to decrease with death. And then the tides turned again, as she, in a fit of rage, took possession over our friend, Feathers. Fighting a friend is hard enough, even more so when your sole purpose for being here is to set her free. But we couldn't let Zashbei have her, so we continued with our assault. Jove, who had since the start of the fight succumbed to Zashbei's influence, witnessed what had happened and flew into a rage unlike anything I'd seen before. As scales started to protrude out of his body, and a large set of draconic wings sprouted from his back. Snapping him out of her mind control, he flew towards Zashbei with great speed, striking her so hard that she was shunted out of the incorporeal form of Feathers, and landing her prone on the ground. Now, my mind is a bit blurry on the details as I kept coming in and out of consciousness from sustaining blow after blow from Zashbei's scythe, but from what little I remember, Ash invoked her astral self and proceeded to pommel Zashbei with to a bloody pulp. As Clovis ran into the tent to retrieve the cauldron with Banff before Zashbei decided to play her final card. Drawing on all the energy she could muster, Zashbei overloaded herself with magic before detonating herself in an explosion that sent us all flying across the room and me back into the darkness. Thankfully, having been dead before, it has its perks, as it seems I am now a little bit harder to kill than I was before. Waking up in a gasp once more, I could see that the fight had ended. Zashbei. My friends gathered around a familiar, although still semi-incorporeal, feathered friend. But instead of a happy reunion, what followed was a series of sad goodbyes. Feathers thanked us for freeing her, but said that her fighting days were over, and that she wouldn't come back. She then went to each one of us, talking about our time together, and although her and I didn't get the chance to know each other well and the others, as well as the others, she still embraced me as a friend. It felt nice knowing that she was safe. And just as we were about to let go, Feathers whispered in my ear, "I choose you." And as she did, the mark of Bahamut disappeared from her arm and appeared on mine. I don't know if spirits can hear what we think, but somehow I feel like Feathers knew of my doubts and wanted to offer reassurance by passing on her mark. I can think of no greater way to honour a fallen friend than to wear it with pride. Thank you, Feathers. Hopefully I'll make you proud.
Very good. Very well written.
So good. I apologise.
That was a really good recap.
I apologise for butchering that.
No, you did great. You did great. You did great.
It was so hard because I've not written it. I was like, oh my god, what's next?
Yeah, I know.
I'm trying to practice it or anything, but very well written.
Yeah, well done, guys.
Very good.
We pick up tonight's session a little bit further on your journey. You guys gather yourselves after bidding farewell to Feathers. Find your way out of the room via a small door handle that was otherwise unseen by any of you. You enter back into the Deepwood Hollow, but spend no time searching around, as the memory of this place needs to be put far to the back of your minds. Together, you manage to get out, and through the aid of Hallie, start making your way back through the Dark Fae into the Feywild proper, deep into the forest, as you set off on your journey back to the place where you first entered. Most of this journey has been spent in almost silence, but for a few words between each other to clarify if we're going in the right direction. Seems a lot of you have a lot of processing to do at this point. Not only about events that have happened over the last few hours, but over the last few weeks. Understanding what lays ahead, it weighs heavily on most of you. You've been through an ordeal. We rejoined the party a couple of hours away from where you first entered the Feywild. Hallie, you're fairly confident at the direction that you need to travel going forward. But this is where you guys have decided to take a small rest, just to catch your breath. You've been on foot now for, if we include the Deepwood Hollow and the battle and the subsequent journey, you've been on your feet now for roughly around 6 to 8 hours. You're all tired, battered and bruised, and decide to take a moment's rest. I'll let you guys decide whether that is a short rest or not, but you pause for a moment. The luminescent glow of the forest around you is calming. But something that you have noticed, all of you, since entering back into the Feywild proper, is that the weather here seems to be in some form of stasis, where it is all green, orange, browns, and also the odd snowflake falls, as it's sort of like an incoherent mash of all weather patterns and seasons in one. Most of you yet to talk about this are starting to draw your own conclusions about what this might mean. But this is where we pick up tonight's session, as you all stop for a brief moment.
Can I just say, on route back, did we come anywhere near the Pixie? The Pixie.
No.
Village. Okay.
You did not. No. The decision was made that the amount of time that you spent needing to rest was enough time to kind of risk to take them under the detour. The decision was made between you all that that wasn't a risk that you could willingly take at this point, given the what is still to come.
Okay, with that, then I would have summoned a woodland creature.
Okay.
Spoke to it briefly, passing on a message to, because I can speak to animals, to give to Thistle that we've done our best and we are now leaving, and a quick apology that we couldn't stop by before leaving.
Okay, no problem. The woodland animal takes that message and heads off.
Whoever suggests the rest, you can see that Ash is very much reluctant to agree. Is very much like, she is not sitting down, she is on her feet, she is like climbing trees to look ahead to try and find where we're going. She's keeping herself as busy as possible.
Hallie is also reluctant to even have a short rest. She just wants to plow on. She still has the helm on her head, as she hasn't really noticed that she still has it.
Yeah.
I'm worried now for what we're going to find, and I want to see if my family are safe. So if you guys must rest, let's make it short, but I would suggest just plowing on. I don't know about you guys. I mean, I feel like shit, but not as shit as I would feel if more time had passed.
Clovis just kind of, as we sort of came to slow down, he just sort of half sat, half leant against a rock. He pulled out his water skin and just started drinking from it. And after Hallie kind of addresses everyone, he just puts the cork back on it, stows it away, says, "As you wish, though I would probably take that off before we go anywhere."
That's what I was going to say. From up a tree, you hear Ash call. How did you get that anyway?
I'm confused. What do you mean?
They're talking
Helm.
about your dragon helm.
The mask you have, we've come across another like it.
Oh,
It would-
I'm sorry. I was hoping that would help improve my odds in the fight.
Where did you
sorry,
find it?
I didn't help. I found it actually here in the Feywilds a while ago. It was on a mission I was given. It wasn't for this, but I found it in possession of the person that I was retrieving. I'm sorry, do you...
The last time we experienced or came across one of those, it was in the position of someone connected to the cult, which destroyed your home.
I doubt that this person is connected to the cult. He was more of an opportunist finder, should we say? I mean,
hopped down
if it
from
makes
the
you uncomfortable,
tree.
I can take it off.
I hopped onto the tree, down the tree, and I approach Hallie. And as I do, I bamf out my astral arms, and I reach towards the helm, saying nothing. And I want to see if that pulsing is there.
Ooh.
It is.
Do I feel that pulsing?
No, you do not.
Okay.
I just make eye contact with Clovis, and I gesture to my arm.
Well, whoever you got it from, maybe they weren't the original person, but wherever they found it, we may need to know. But for the most part, right now, it's probably not something you want to be seen with publicly.
Fair. And DM, have I noticed any sort of anything from it? Because it's been hours now. I would have attuned to it if it needed attuning to. I have not noticed anything.
You are unable to attune to this item at the moment.
Okay, and when you attune to something, you're aware that you're attuned to it, aren't you?
You know that you're attuning to it, and you are aware that you are unable to attune to it.
Okay. It doesn't seem to do anything, to be fair. So I'm happy to, and she literally just lifts it off her head. And she kind of stows it back in her bag. If it's going to make you guys feel uncomfortable. I mean, it doesn't do anything anyway.
It's less for our benefit.
A longer story than we have time for right now. But let's just
Understood.
say, as Clovis has said, we've come across one before. It's not good news. Just keep it hidden.
I understand.
Clovis is just still
So-
kind of sort of there, like not really looking at anyone, just with his arms crossed, leaning against this rock.
Mhm.
And then, like, he does very quickly just shoot a glance over to see Jove's demeanor. so as to not be caught looking at him,
Okay.
if possible.
I mean, I have a upset.
Mickey.
Make a sleight of hand check just to see if you can
Sleight of
do
hand,
that.
okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's just to see if you.
13
Okay.
And my
no problem.
passive's 18.
with my dexterous eyes.
Yeah. Jove, what is Jove's demeanor right now?
So he probably would have been at the front during the walk, just keeping the trail clear, seeing as he feels like everyone took a lot more damage than he did, sort of following Hallie, etc. Once we got to where we stopped, he would have taken a few sort of paces forward, just kept a lookout like everyone else, but probably being the one holding the cauldron, as he sort of has it on his axe still, with the handle sort of resting against the blade head, he just sort of turns to look at everyone and goes, "Before we leave, we got something to do first. There's something proper we have to do. And
Here?
none of us want to do it, but he sort of like hoists the cauldron gently off and just like places it in front of himself.
Not here.
Why?
I don't. She's not from here. It would be improper to. I mean, she was your friend, so
There's no family for her waiting back in our realm. There's no one we know of who would know where they were all waiting for her from.
He's not here, Jove.
Well, where then?
Back home.
Your home, the monastery, the south, Candlekeep.
It's as good a place as any, but this place we don't know what could come along and what they could do with such remains of otherworldly nature.
This is the place she was trapped.
do you guys know where she was from?
Baldur's Gate. I think.
I mean,
She mentioned having family in the Great Forest.
okay. I mean, I know personally I would rather rest at home, but I agree with Ash. There are creatures here that can do stuff with remains. And if this is a place that she was held and tortured, it's up to you guys. But I would suggest back at least on our plane. I know I found comfort when my grandfather died, visiting his burial site. So I don't know if this is a custom that you guys hold, but if that is something that would bring comfort to you, then it would be easier, obviously, it being at least on the realm that you reside.
I agree. It would be nice to have somewhere that doesn't require returning to this place where we can pay our respects.
Jeff kind of he picks the cauldron up as gently as he can, just puts it back on his shoulder, and as everyone sort of says this, he looks down and says, "There's not a graveyard big enough for me to go and pay respects to. Fine, we'll do it back home. Let's get going. We stayed here long enough. We need to see what's going on."
Okay,
Hallie, what did you say your passive perception was?
18.
Okay, well, you probably would have noticed that Clovis has the Rod of Recollection in his hand. And you probably would have also noticed that sort of, oh no, actually, because we're walking. No, he can't do that. But he has it in his hand.
Okay, she wouldn't really have thought too much of you holding a. It's a ball, isn't it? It's basically
It's
like a
like a
metal
ball.
ball.
It's like a little ball on a. It's like a little silver ball on the end of a tripod.
A little bit like
A
my
very
mic.
thin tripod.
Okay. So are we resting at all? I don't feel great. But I'm happy to just plow on. If we are to rest, I think we should sit down and rest now, or move on. We have to make the decision.
I don't wish to spend any longer here than is necessary.
Me neither.
Okay.
Michael, what have you been doing during this short rest? This brief intermission, more like than it short rest.
Yeah.
Michael would just lean against some kind of a tree or bush or whatever to find some purchase, and he would just be looking over his newly acquired tattoo. Like, what does it look like? Because is it different for everyone, or does it look
So it's the same. It's the same tattoo. So Clovis, Jove, Ash all have the same tattoo. It is the platinum dragon symbol of. It's basically a dragon's head. That is a tattooed version. I do believe it's in the Discord at some point. I will send it to you, but it's kind of like an artistic version of a dragon's head.
And is it located on my,
It was.
Wrist, wasn't it?
It was on your wrist.
My wrist.
So it's pretty much where Feathers kind of had hold of your wrist, kind of let go, and it was emblazoned underneath it.
Right, well, let's move on then.
At that, Ash just begins to walk off in the direction that we've been heading.
Okay.
And Hallie is sort of with the thought of trying to get out of here as quickly as possible. She's not trying to get back to the exact spot. She's trying to get 500 feet away to activate the staff. So as soon as I'm within 500 feet, as soon as Hallie would feel that she's within 500 feet, she would stop the group.
Okay, so you've got another hour or so yet to walk before you get anywhere close to that. So you guys start heading off in that general direction.
As everyone is quiet and we're walking, Jove is sort of middle of the party, sort of trying to keep an eye on everyone. And as the silence seems to be purveying, he just sort of looks at the ground a little bit and just says out loud, "Look, I know you guys were right, okay? I know I ain't been the easiest since I got here. I've been saying this wasn't what we should have been doing. I know rescuing Feathers was the right move. It had to be done. It's better to have done it sooner rather than later, based on what we saw. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make it more difficult. I just worry about what we left behind. More."
Marco just puts a hand on your shoulder. Not saying anything, but just a firm grip on your shoulder.
As you guys do this to slow down and slow down with this a little bit with this happening, Clovis, who's been sulking, walking at the back, just kind of overtakes you. Just keeps walking.
As Clovis catches up with Hallie, she's not going to stop walking and not really even look at you. Just, I know that was hard. Did I notice she gave you something?
To me?
Yeah.
And Clovis just, as he's walking, just looks at his hand and looks at the sort of silvery feathered ring on his finger. Yes, a memento, I suppose.
Those can be powerful in moments like this. Not actual power, more emotional support power.
I am sorry, by the way.
For what?
To having withheld information from you.
Oh, that seems immaterial now. I appreciate that. I kind of get where you guys were coming from. You didn't know me. You didn't know how I would react.
I have trouble seeing people as much more than variables in a scheme. And, well, it was Feathers who taught me that they can be so much more, and I'm sorry.
That seems like an awful way to go through life. So if she's taught you a different way, I appreciate her for that. I kind of wish I'd got to meet her, to be fair. She seems like quite the character.
I'm clearly still learning a few things.
And we all.
I wish you had had the chance. But she chose a different path.
You guys continue on. Oh, sorry. Go on.
I don't know how you guys feel about me holding on to this. And she kind of just like gestures the bow that's on her back. I mean, I'm happy to relinquish this to her side, wherever it may be. I mean, it's up to you guys. It seems a very useful weapon, but
see Killian's ears kind of prick up a little bit.
Bows, what's Killian doing?
You guys have noticed that Killian is a really, like, he's a master at reading like a room, if that makes sense. So he's like, he knows when to talk, when not to talk. Like, he's very much like seeing you guys just go through some shit, and he's kind of going, I'm gonna
step back from that.
I'm just, so pretty much
in the
kind of,
hedge.
yeah. So he kind of has pretty much been towards the back, kind of like keeping pace with Banff. Every now and again, just kind of stroking Banff's head and not really kind of engaging with you guys. And when you guys are having these discussions, kind of keeping himself kind of towards the outskirts of it and not really investing. But when you hears that there's a fancy new bow, you kind of like, doesn't say anything, just kind of raises an eyebrow, pokes his head, and he's like,
I feel what Feathers wanted to leave behind in this world, she left with us. Perhaps when we do make some sort of burial site, we will leave it. But for now, I'm happy for you to carry it.
Well, I'm happy to carry that and relinquish it if that is what you guys want.
Killian kicks a rock.
I have no problems with that. We should be nearing the boundary of when I can transport us out soon.
Then I shall enjoy these final moments of uncertainty.
Okay.
Anybody else like to do anything on this?
Carries on wandering, head down, hair hanging around his eyes.
No, Ash is kind of at the front and will occasionally look back to Hallie to make sure she's going in the right direction.
I kind of give her the sort of, if she veers any way off, I kind of just whistle and kind of correct her course a little bit.
Yeah, but typically, like, Ash will slow her pace when we're walking as a group, but right now she's not. She's going.
Okay.
So we're jogging.
You guys press on. 250 feet in 3 seconds. Woo woo.
No,
Power walk.
she's on a mission. And she will occasionally, like, if she gets too far ahead, she will climb up a tree and scout out, and then when she hears everybody kind of approach, she'll climb down and keep going. But like, so she's not going to lose them, but she's keeping a distance.
Unless there's anything else anybody wants to do during this walk, we will fast forward to you guys approaching the portal site. Okay, you do so. Another hour or so passes in, again, more contemplative silence. And you arrive within 500 feet of your original arrival point. Ash, something that you've noticed as you've been scouting out and stuff, there doesn't seem to be as many kind of locals, whether that be beasties or pixies or anything that you've kind of come to be accustomed floating around and moving about in this place. There seems to be like a very like a huge scarcity of them on your way back, to a point where you're like, okay.
And I assume as we've been walking, the weather, this weird flux but also stasis, has remained constant?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's been like mild, temperate, but like the odd snowflake will fall when the sun's out and the leaves are falling from the tree. It's so weird.
The sprite's prophecy was true.
Yeah,
we've destroyed the Feywild. It's alright, we got feathers. Well, no, we didn't.
No, we didn't. It was all for now, but it's fine.
You guys start to approach.
No, it wasn't for now.
No, it was.
No, it wasn't. We freed her. Sorry, continue, Dan.
You guys start to approach the site where you first entered.
As soon as I feel that I'm within 500 feet, I whistle to Ash to stop, and silently I do the same thing. I take my staff, stab it into the ground, suggest everyone stand back, and you do see the same giant tree appear, and the portal splits within the bark.
Okay, and you're going back to the same origin point, which means after this, the usage of it then opens up and frees again.
Yes, because that's the way it works. It has to return to the way it came. So it'll be opening to the monastery.
It's the exact point that you entered.
Yes, so I will say that...
Why are you saying it like that?
on. I know, right?
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that.
While I'm doing this, I will clarify exactly how this works. I have to do this back to the monastery. This is the way it works. I hope that's okay. I mean, if it's not, it's the way it works. So suck it up. And I do.
Okay.
And when it opens, I gesture for everyone to go through it first.
Okay. The portal opens up in front of you. In the tree that Hallie has created. Who's going first?
Boom, I'm going through.
You going through, just straight through?
I'm also going straight through.
Okay.
I'm like imagining myself walking from the back of the pack through everyone, just like not looking at anyone, just going straight.
To be honest, that's basically what Ash is doing. So he probably like bump shoulders at one point, and then
you're quicker than me. You're quicker than me.
Yeah.
I'll let you.
Both of you moodily trying to push your way through a door. No, I'm first.
Okay, so one after another.
Once everyone's through, I take one last look around and I disappear through.
Okay, make me a perception check.
Ooh.
Who?
Is this the
Hallie.
first roll? Oh no, someone else did a thing, didn't they?
Yeah, we did that.
So everyone else walks through. You at the brink of the portal.
It's a 12.
As you step through, and you're passing through that barrier out of your periphery, you see wings flutter by a nearby tree as you step through.
Anyone's when we reach the other side, you see Hallie has a really pissed off look on her face.
Well,
I imagine we all do.
Well, she was sad before.
you
now she's pissed
guys
off.
Oh, no.
step through the portal.
No.
No. And V is just like casually walking away. Like, oh, you guys have only been 30 seconds.
The room
right.
you find yourselves in, though familiar,
Oh.
is adorned with faded tapestries, depicting the monastery's rich history. A darkened light filters through the stained glass windows, casting a dim but colourful mosaic light upon the stone floor. The air itself carries a faint scent of incense, mingling with the anticipation and trepidation that hangs palpably in the air. But what catches your attention first is 15 heavily armoured guards standing in formation, their expression stern and vigilant, clad in polished armour and bearing weapons of formidable craftsmanship. They stand like an impenetrable barrier, radiating an air of unyielding authority. The glinting steel of their swords and the weight of their shields seem to mirror the gravity of the situation at hand. Behind this formidable defense, towards the back of the room, you see a sea of people huddled together. I'm going to turn the music down a tad.
It got so intense.
A sea of people huddled together, their faces etched with weariness and despair. Dressed in tattered clothes, they appear as though they've endured a long and arduous journey. Their eyes filled with a mixture of hope, yet resignation. Darted around the room, seeking solace and safety within the walls of this monastery. The presence of these people seemed to disturb the sanctity of this room, contrasting sharply with the serenity and simplicity that is typically characterized within this place. Many are emaciated, with dust-covered skin and dirt-streaked faces and hair Their matted hair itself and worn shoes speak of the countless miles that they must have travelled through forests, across desolate plains, seeking sanctuary from an unknown threat. The tension between the guards and yourself is palpable, as both groups stand locked in silent standoff. The guards' fingers twitch on the hilts of their weapons, ready to defend the sanctity of the people within. Meanwhile, the refugees huddle towards the back of the room, their eyes filled with fear and dread as they all start to move back towards the back wall of the room. The glint of hope of salvation fades as you all stand. The guards stood in formation in front of you, each draw weapons towards you.
What is this?
Who are you? What are you doing here?
We are the Fallen. And why are you in my fucking monastery?
As she says that, Jove is gonna come forward, place a hand to her shoulder, and pull her backwards into the group, and just sort of come forward, place the cauldron. Right, I see. There's tension here, and these guys look messed up. We are not here to start a fight. We are not here to do things. We are here to help. We have been trying for a long time. My name is Jove. We are known by a few groups in this place. The Harpers, the Gauntlet. They know our names. They know all of us.
The Order. From the back, Hallie just says, "Where the fuck is Viz?"
You see that as you say all this, they kind of look amongst themselves. And you hear the door open. And towards the back of the room, a figure that you all recognize. There's a bald, heavily tattooed individual with bandana covering half of their face, tied round their head, missing. You kind of look as they kind of hobble into the room. You look to their left arm, and just below the elbow, it is severed and bandaged. You see bandages wrapped around their waist as the individual steps through and looks up and goes, "Ash, stand down. They're known to us. They're okay." The heavily armored guards look at each other and kind of stand and sheath their weapons.
Good choice.
Mike, not now.
In the weapons sort of being sheathed, Hallie places her hand on the tree, and you see it just disappears straight back into her stick.
Wait, is this Tiri or is this?
This is Tiri.
It is Tiri.
What's left of him?
Ash is trying to break free from Jove to give Tiri a hug. It's pushing through. It's attempting to anyway.
He wasn't stopping you from going anywhere. He was literally just getting you from the front, throwing you to the fucking back and going, "Shut up. Let's do this properly."
In which case Ash is breaking from the group and going to Tiri and is just grasping his shoulders. How long has it been? What's happened?
A lot has changed. Where have you been?
How much time has passed? Sort of comes up behind him.
A lot has changed. You've been gone for some time. Come. We have much to discuss. And as you were rushing through, you see the crowd of people that were huddled towards the back. They were gasping and kind of moving away from you. You see the look of fear in all of their eyes. Tiri, go on.
Sorry, no. The guards themselves. What are we looking at? Just like one set race, or is it like a mixture of people? Like
Mixture of race.
Okay. Same with the huddled masses.
Yep.
Yeah.
Are they
Is
wearing
those
any sort
insignia?
of emblems? Yeah.
Yes.
They are, yeah.
Do we
What?
recognize this?
You
as well?
see that a couple of you might. Clovis, you will have definitely come across individuals clad in this sort of kind of tabard over their armour. It is a red tabard with what looks to be a golden lion imprint on the chest.
I wouldn't recognize that.
You wouldn't know. Ash, you
Would I?
may have come across this before. Michael and Jove, you probably wouldn't.
Do you
Any-
want me to roll a history check?
No, I'm just going to tell you without you
Okay.
rolling. You
Alright,
probably you may have done, but only in passing. You don't really know the
Mhm.
you know the kind of guild that they're part of.
Alright.
Do I know
but-
specifically though?
Yeah, you know exactly who these people are. You know that they are members of the Lord's Alliance.
Ah, yeah. Yeah.
Also,
Do we see? Do I see any tattoos in the shape of a serpent with wings on any of them?
No,
Okay.
not visible.
while
They're all-
this is
Sorry, go on.
no, go ahead.
They're all heavily clad in heavy armor, so it's like full, like plate mail, scale mail, right the way down. None are showing much skin apart from like even with the helmets. Most kind of just have this visor where you can't really see their eyes because of the helmeted shade that it gives within the helmet. But Clovis, you know that these are members of the Lord's Alliance.
Okay. So while this is while I'm seeing and taking all this in, and people are starting to rush forward and talk and stuff like that, sort of realizing that clearly quite a large amount of time has elapsed. Clovis just sort of slowly begins to walk backwards, back
Mhm.
away from the group, and then turns to face the wall away from everyone else, and speaks into his ring. Quintrith, I have just this moment returned, and I still don't know how long it's been, but I hope you've kept your ring on. I'm so sorry, but I'm back. What's been going on? Please tell me you're safe.
Oh, thank goodness that you're okay.
Hell.
Oh.
It is not new, and
Oh,
I'm on my way there now. I've been trying to reach you forever. You have been gone for some time. Are you okay?
Sometime.
No, is the honest answer. But
I'm gonna just change this music up a second. What's that?
we
keep
are.
it. It's killing us.
What was the name of this temple
honestly.
again?
Might as well.
Well, the order is the Order of the Ethereal Earth.
Order of the Ethereal. Okay. We're at the temple of the Order of the Ethereal Earth,
Near the Grandfather Tree.
near the Grandfather Tree. We have only just returned. There were complications in the Feywild. I'm sorry, I've failed you. But I'm back. Please get to safety. You must stay safe.
Those kinds of places are very few and far between at the moment.
Oh, fuck.
No, I don't want to hear that. But...
I am
Did you
safe,
expect?
and I'm glad to hear that you are too. Things have changed. Evil has washed across this continent in droves. Happened to the south is happening everywhere. I'm safe. I'm not far from where you are. We had to flee Greenest itself. Most of the major towns and cities are only manned by fighters and people that can wield swords. But most of the smaller towns have been abandoned. People make for safe havens like Candlekeep, and Baldur's Gate has been warded off. Travelers have become more frequent as people are fleeing for safety. I have managed to make my way north. The borders and gates of El Terrell have been shut for some time. I am north, though.
Send for me as soon as you arrive, and if you encounter any trouble, let me know and I will come immediately.
I'm not alone. There's a small group of us. Dalen, Eros, a few members of the Shadowbacks have travelled with us. But we are few in number, and few in resource. The roads aren't safe. No matter where you go next, be on your guard. The forces of evil, they've washed over this place.
We will undo this. I will do everything in my power to undo this. Be quick. Just get to us.
I will do my best.
We can make a plan.
We'll meet you at the grandfather tree in 3 days. It should only take us that to reach there.
It's too long. I'll see what can be done. I'm so glad you're okay, and I'm sorry. I did not mean to leave you for so long.
Go back. That's all that matters. I thought you'd all... Well, I don't want to tell you what I thought. But over the time that has passed, it's began increasingly to get optimistic about your return.
Well, hopefully we can help turn the tide. Currently we're being held at sword point though, so... Jervis smoothing things over. I'm sure we'll be fine. I'll contact you shortly.
Okay. And... Dad... I've missed you. You don't know how happy I am to know that you're back. Felt all alone again for the longest time.
Should have never allowed it to happen. We'll be together again soon. Though, I wish it were under different circumstances. And I'll sort of turn around to see what everyone else is arguing and hugging about.
If I've seen him talk, obviously I'm only hearing one sort of side of the conversation. I would have urged him to ask exactly how long we have been away.
Did you ask that, Clovis?
I mean, I kind of did, but a couple of people have asked that now, and we haven't got a straight answer. So.
Well, if you're asking specifically how long it has been since I contacted you last, I will tell you.
Yeah, I've finished my conversation with Quintrith now.
You'll all have to fucking wait.
Terry, exactly how long?
Figured someone else was going to get to it pretty soon.
I ain't waiting for this.
Fluid roleplay.
We're gone.
Amazing.
2 words, last word, days. That's what I want to know.
How long?
Been gone nearly 6 months.
Ooh.
Fuck.
At the sound of that, you hear the cauldron just to the floor, and Joe, with a visible shake to his arm, just very quietly pushes a door out of the way and closes it behind him.
Okay, so you leave the room.
Yeah, just for the moment, he's just going outside to have a quick breath.
Okay, I will come to you in a second as you exit the room, but
Okay.
Ash, she kind of turns and goes,
He was right. He was right. It was a day. It was a day for us, Terry.
2. It was 2.
It doesn't
Sorry.
fucking matter, Hallie!
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to yell. Terry,
No,
where's
you're right.
Fee? Where's Fee? Have you heard from Trolara? Where's Phalanx?
I know that you have questions. Come with me. We have a lot to talk about. All of you. You have nothing to fear from these people. They are friends. They've been fighting this fight as we have, but on a different plane. Now they have come back to us. Fortune stands in our favor. For these are mighty warriors and strong folk. You have nothing to fear from them, people. As you were. Come on. Let's go somewhere we can talk. And on that, I need a quick wee. I'll be a second.
As we're walking, I'm kind of like stunned in shock, and as kind of Clovis catches up to me, I grasp his elbow. It's Quincy.
For now. She's on her way.
And she just nods and keeps walking.
Hallie has dropped to the back of the group, but she is moving with the group after feeling a bit abashed by Ash.
I'm sorry I yelled!
No, 100%.
I don't care about technicalities.
Yeah.
So she's dropped to the back of the group, but she is following the group, but she is keeping an eye out for these. She is very aware that these probably are people from far and wide, so she is keeping an eye out for her family amongst the people.
Michael's keeping an eye out as well.
Okay.
To specifically see if he can see a dragonborn friend.
Okay. You two do not within this room.
Okay.
Jove, being the first one to exit, you see that as you open into the main hall, it is packed. There are people everywhere, huddled in little groups and larger groups, all sat on the floor or pacing. People looking destitute. You see that there are, looking around, there are a handful, not as many monks as you saw when you left here last. But the ones that are here are busy walking around, handing what little food supplies they have out. You see them, what you would normally get handed in a tavern as a loaf of bread, like a kind of rip-off of bread. They kind of have that, and they're pulling bits off that and just handing the bits to people, being as sparing as they can with what little they have. But that's what you see immediately as you exit this room, and the sheer sight of it. What bit of rage you felt burning inside you as you walk out of the room to see the sight in front of you. What do you want to do, Jove?
Sort of looking at them as they sit now in this room, he just sort of, he doesn't drop the axe, he never would, but he just sort of, he sheathes on his back and just sort of very delicately just starts walking through them. Like, it's very much a scene from when he first knew destruction of this level, and just watching people handing out minuscule amounts of food, the death, the destruction, the sort of the hideous nature of whatever is swept across this world. It just sort of, it burns a sadness deep into his chest, and then he just sort of walks through trying to see if he recognizes anyone, or just any faces that might stand out as people he's seen, or anyone particularly that he would have known from Waterdeep. He doesn't know where they've come from, so he's just sort of scanning, hoping maybe a face appears, or...
You don't. But there is a mixture of races and sexes and ages here. You see that there are even small children, there are elderly folk, there are injured people. It's just a wave of
sort of
hurt.
walking through and seeing kids. He's going to take the bag of clothing and just start like rummaging around any like fresh fruit and vegetables he has stored in there. He just starts just giving them to anyone he can see. Kids are given bits of fruit, people are given like vegetables. He starts trying to like rummage through properly to see if he can find like cooking materials, things people could maybe make like small meals out of. He gets his cooking tools out and tries to sort of not that he's going to, but just beckon people that they can now start using these things. He just essentially dumps the bag out.
As soon as you start handing fresh fruit and vegetables out, people start not massing round you, but like kind of being drawn to where you are with hands out. A lot of them you see are shaking. Lots of people here seemingly lost weight given the miles of travel with very little foods.
Yeah, he does his best.
As you're doing this, the door opens behind you as Tiri, Ash, Michael, Hallie, and Clovis step out, and you are all okay.
After Ash said the thing to me before she was leaving, I like sort of that room that we came in from. Is this a room? It's like an enclosed room, like with the roof and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
Is there like a tower or something? Is it like a big temple? Like if I was to go to the roof, how high up would I be?
Oh, so this isn't a tall ceilinged room. This is the portal room that you guys entered into. It's
25 feet.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, not even.
Do I know from having spent some time here where there is a large tower within this monastery anywhere?
Did you go up in the tower to speak to Vintus? Because that would be the tallest one that you could get into. I don't believe you did.
Would I have seen it?
You will have seen. You wouldn't actually. From the outside, you'll have seen it when
that's
coming
fine,
in.
that's fine.
But yes.
Okay, so if that's the case, I would like to dimension door to the roof of that tower.
Okay, so you will have to go a little. But you don't have. Do you have to have seen it before, or just see it now?
No.
The dimension door.
No, it's just
any
500 feet
direction.
away.
500
500 feet.
Oh yeah. Okay, so you out of that room and onto the top of that tower.
Hallie,
Michael would have done the same.
Hallie,
Dimension dooring.
you will notice Ash's expression as these two leave. It's forlorn.
You can see the expression on my face that you see responded is more concern that the party, that these two members of the party just disappeared, and we need to find V.
We do. And as soon as Joe comes into sight, Ash is running into his arms.
Sort of handing out the last thing and feeling her come in, he just like holds her very tight and you never should have left.
No, we shouldn't. You were right. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. No, it was feathers. We couldn't have known. I couldn't have known. You couldn't have known. It just reminds me of home. I can't. We gotta be strong now. We're back.
I know. I'm trying.
He sort of places a hand to the back of her head and just sort of, he's wearing armor, but sort of tries to push her towards like a soft spot and just like holds close as these people surround them. And he kind of just stops talking after a while and just stays there for a moment.
You just feel her shaking in your arms.
What you see, Hallie, as these two hug each other, is that 3 or 4 of the individuals around them hug them. Just grab them as they're hugging each other and just kind of wrap their arms and just kind of like press their heads on. And you see this young human girl kind of reach up and just kind of like wrap her arms around Jove's leg.
As he feels that, Ash, like you'll just feel a weep begin. Like it's not particularly loud, but you can just feel his chest just as he just lets go of everything and he just starts at the same pace as you.
As she starts taking in this scene, she starts like retreating back to almost she hits a wall. Trying to just take, this is the first she's ever seen of any sort of devastation. And the realization of what she was told of the devastation of Belloc is starting to hyperventilate slightly, and she's going slight panic attack as she starts just retreating, as what has happened to her home is obviously she is seeing here.
Could
And
I
she is
potentially
going
make
slightly
a?
panicked up.
Hold on 1 second,
That-
Ash.
Yeah, no, it was to do with Hallie.
Okay, yeah, go on.
I was gonna say, can I roll a perception check at disadvantage to see if I noticed that?
Sure.
There's a lot of work around you.
That is still 17.
You do spot Hallie just kind of like retreating and just kind of, you see her just kind of like collapse her back onto the wall and just wide-eyed taking all this in.
And kind of from Joe, like the crux of Joe's shoulder, she catches your eye and she like wipes a tear away and she just nods at you. You okay? It'll be okay.
And she kind of mouths that back because she's across the room at this point, and she just mouths back, I can't, I don't. Can't.
Sort of releasing Ash ever so slightly, Joe just like, in sort of like the tenderest way he can, he sort of just places two hands to her head, sort of just like right it a little and looks down and just says, "We made a mistake, okay? We went for far too long, but we did what we had to do, and I know that was the right thing to do. Your sister was suffering, and we couldn't have left her. Now we're back, and we will fix this. I will fix this.
We.
Yes, I know we."
This isn't on you. We.
And he just places his forehead to hers, just briefly. Breathes deep and lets go and just looks to all the people and just... Right, let's find... Where are Clovis and Mike?
I don't know.
In the meantime, Michael, you dimension door as well. Where are you going?
No, I'm not dimension dooring. Michael is, because he doesn't have the spell for it.
Okay.
But Michael's basically trying to find an open space, and he will literally just take his sword and start scaling the building as quick as he can by just stabbing in. And when he gets a perch, he's going to misty step up to the next perch and keep going until he gets to the highest point that he can possibly get to. He just wants to see what the fuck is happened.
But it's going to take you some time, so you will have exited the room and seen this encounter with Hallie, Ash, and Jove, and you haven't stayed. You've moved through people out to the main courtyard, and as you get into the main courtyard, again, you see what used to be quite an empty courtyard with a beautiful Zen garden and fountain. It's full of tents, like almost like militaristically placed so that there is very little space in between, and placed as it's full. There is a small passage around 15 feet wide going from the front door down to the main gate, and it is guarded, and every 10 feet or 10 steps you see on either side there are members of the Lord's Alliance stood on guard with spear, just manning this, and there is an individual walking up and down in this space. The individual you have not seen before. You see, Michael, that this is a human male with darkened brown hair, tied in a ponytail behind, and a goatee, with a fur cover shawl over his shoulders and leather armor, with a huge, what looks like a katana on his side.
My boy.
As he is walking and basically pacing and patrolling this area. He kind of spots you come out, nods as you turn the corner and start walking around the side of the building, start beginning to scale. I'd like you to make me an athletics check, please.
I think Pedrodor's family's alright.
I wish I'd met Edredor.
You may still yet.
Athletics,
Yeah.
athletics or acrobatics?
Athletics, please.
Athletics.
Because you are jamming your
You're
sword
heaving
in.
yourself up.
You're not...
15.
You ever stabbed concrete? It's not easy.
15. I'm going to say that, unfortunately, you are able to scale up until the top of the first platform, but that takes most of your strength. You're at the end of an adventuring day. You can probably get to the
I'm
top
just
of
gonna
there.
channel all the magic I have to just stop misty stepping.
Okay.
Michael's just full focused on.
It's going to take you some time to do that, but in the meantime, Clovis, you dimension door out and onto the top of this tower, the tallest point of the monastery.
Yeah, and like sort of as it was like where I stepped through the dimension door back in, it was just sort of like focusing on the floor, very stoic, not really showing any kind of emotion or reaction. But as soon as I stepped through, Clovis is almost stumbling to stay on his feet. He looks down at the camp within the monastery and then lifts his head, and as he begins to sort of scan the horizon to get an idea of how bad things are back on this plane, his breath begins to get quicker and deeper and immediately comes out in a sweat, as if sort of he's just letting out everything that he was trying to hold in now that he's on his own.
You look out onto the horizon and you see the sky is blackened as dark clouds spread as far as the eye can see, and you see billows of dark and black and white smoke billow from places off in the distance.
And as he sort of takes this in, the realization starts to hit him. He just kind of almost crumples in on himself and screams at the top of his lungs out at the horizon, just a long screeching fuck, just like and then just kind of crumples down just with his elbows on his knees, kind of squatting down, and just stays there for a little while.
Something else that you will have noticed as you were on here and you were looking round, the tower that you're on, as you kind of like look up to where the peak of the tower is, there seems to be this beam of like translucent magical energy pouring out of the top of this tower and kind of forming kind of a dome, so to speak, over the monastery itself. Sort of like that, yeah. Like that kind of Harry Potter shit where...
I hated that.
I know, it was like the worst thing in that film, but you see that this is kind of like blowing out of the top of this tower that you're currently sat on as you kind of crumple down. Yeah. And as you do, you hear below you tiles start to move and shift as you kind of like look down. And you see Michael running across the top of the roof below you.
Clovis probably doesn't look down, just hearing the tiles. He is just sort of squatting on the floor in like a kind of poop squat position, just elbows on his hands and his forehead on his forearms, or elbows on his knees, sorry.
Yeah.
Just like that, his hair hanging over his forearms.
Okay. Michael, make me another athletics check, please. Oh, you don't need to, you misty stepping, I apologize. As you start running and you get to the base of this tower, you kind of like misty step to like minor footholds, reappear, jump off, misty step again within seconds to like poof, until you land on top of this tower to see Clovis launched over a few feet away from you and the sight of, as I've just described, out on the horizon.
So sorry.
And kind of almost like snapping out of thought, just turns back and just kind of looks over his shoulder, kind of like at you like a little bit. And then looks back and stands up. It's all gone. Why was this our fight?
I don't know.
Is it still?
Just it has to be.
He turns around to look at to like face you.
You can see that he's visibly crying. Tears are just streaming down his face.
He walks up to you and just sort of like puts a hand on your shoulder. Facing
I don't believe in gods, Clovis. But I swear to every single one of them. No matter how many I face, no matter how many of these bastards I face, I'll kill them all. Every single one of them. I may have been the enemy before, but I'm not anymore. And they will pray and regret the day that they didn't finish me off.
As much as we may not believe in the gods, Michael, rather frustratingly, it seems they believe in us. Whether that faith is ill-placed, I suppose still remains to be seen. But so far, I'm not so sure.
In the temple.
One last thing.
Yeah. Clovis jumps.
Yeah, Clovis takes his hand off Michael's shoulder and walks off the roof.
Okay.
And after 5 feet, my stone of featherfall kicks in, and I begin to float down to the floor.
I imagine that's what was it? That
But the way
out the window just goes.
The way I step off, I very much do walk to the end and just lean forwards.
Okay.
And you can tell that there is a kind of catharsis in that. Like, as the featherfall kicks in, Clovis just kind of sighs deeply and then slowly drifts towards the floor.
In the main hall, with Ash, Jove, and Hallie and Tiri, and the survivors of this atrocity. What do you guys want to do? The people around you stop hugging you. Tiri is kind of just like leant up against the wall, seemingly kind of just holding his side.
As I was mouthing, I can't to Ash. I am shaking, and Hallie is going to just run as fast as she can through a crowd towards V's office.
Okay. You...
is that passing me?
You're sort of like 10-15 feet away from each other, but she's towards the edge of the room, against the wall where the door is to the room that you were just in, which is the same side that Vince's office is, so she kind of like turns and starts trying to bolt through
Can
people.
I attempt to grab her, and if I can reach her, I'm going to cast guidance more to bolster her than anything else. It's just to feel that I'm with her.
Okay.
Rather than, like, I'm going to cast guidance on you, more I'm here.
As soon as you start running, Tiri spots the direction in which you're going and just turns and goes, "No, wait! Don't!"
Where is he? Tiri.
Are you going to stop, Hallie, or are you carrying on?
I don't really know Tiri, so no, I wouldn't stop.
As soon as you carry on, you see that Tiri starts running after her. Ash.
I follow.
So do I.
Yeah.
You all start rushing towards the door to the tower, and as you do, you see that there are 3 or 4 Lord's Alliance members stood at that door, and as soon as they see you approach, put their shields and spears across the door and stand between you and the door, and just Tiri just goes, "Stop! Wait!"
Where is he? Tiri?
He is safe, and he is awake and keeping us safe, but he cannot be disturbed.
You promise? You promise me, Tiri?
I promise you, he's fine. But what he's doing cannot be disturbed, for what he's doing is important and vital of the safety of everyone in here. And please, these people have been through enough.
If just puts a hand on Ash's shoulder and just keeps her, just pulls her in
Come
slightly.
with me, all of you.
I need to see him, Tiri.
Cannot.
Ash, if he's busy, if he's doing things that are important, we need to give him time to do it. I want to see the Great Master as much as you do.
Joel.
For as short a time as it was, he was my teacher too. But we need to get a
No,
handle.
you don't understand, Joel. He was more than my teacher. He was basically my dad.
Ash, I know. Like a father to both of us. But we can't disturb him now. There is more to this than you would ever understand, and I need to talk to you about it all. Come with me, please.
Okay.
You do
Joe
see
kind of ushers her under the shoulder.
Hallie does spin on her heel. Fine. Then we need to know, and we need to know now. So wherever you need to take us, we need to go now.
I've been trying to go. Follow me.
You see Clovis kind of walk up to where you guys are, almost sort of like noticing you, having been wandering aimlessly a bit. He's got his blazer slung over his shoulder and his shirt untucked.
You see, for the first time since everything's happened, Ash is having a meltdown.
Clovis, as you fell onto the floor, you'll have walked through the courtyard, you will have spotted Edredor. Whether you chose to do anything with that, at that point, you've chosen not to and walked through.
Yeah, if I locked eyes with him, I would have given him a sort of very slow one nod.
You see as he kind of like locks eyes with you, he kind of raises an eyebrow, and you see kind of like a little half smirk on his face as he kind of like nods. Almost knowingly, he's just kind of like...
Yeah, but the sort of nod I reciprocate is the smile is sort of like a little bit more like, almost like a naughty child, almost.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Like...
on his way to detention, he's kind of just like... And communicate to him that things ain't good, buddy.
You still see
I'll catch up for a beer later, but now's not the time.
Yeah. But like, you see that there is more of a look of hope in his eye than anything. It's not a look of, oh, there's my best buddy, I'm so pleased to see. It's more of a... It's more of a like...
It's like a glad you're here.
Yeah. And he's just kind of like relief. And more of an... Because he's seen what you guys can do, he's kind of like, okay.
Yeah, Clovis doesn't like that. That's why he's not...
I know. You kind of walk into the hall, and you see, as you walk into the hall, you see the mass of people. And then you see Hallie start sprinting to the door, and Ash, Jove, and Tiri follow her, and they exchange at the door as you're making your way through towards them. Michael, what? Mikkel? Sorry.
Mikkel!
What are you doing?
Michael!
Michael, what you doing? Sorry.
Oh yeah, Michael.
I guess after
So hot.
seeing Clovis just drop, Michael just takes a second to look at the area all around him.
I think the sheer impact of the calamity that's befallen this place instantly would hit anyone looking out on this view.
Yeah. And he just looks up into the sky and says, Bahamut, I hope you know what you're doing.
you hear in your head for the second time ever. Steadfast, brave hero. Your time has come.
Hell of a time to tap me in, but fair. I'm with you. And I'll start scaling down.
Please don't fall.
For the sake of, I'm not going to do that. I mean, you guys are going through enough. You guys are going through a lot right now. I'm not going to do that. Oh, Michael just falls off a roof. Like
in the middle of the campsite.
Let's be honest. Michael falls straight onto the ground. It goes.
Yes, back up. Yeah. For real.
Who needs featherfall when you can't die?
So, for the sake of everything, you guys who are on the roof managed to get yourself back down into the main hall. Michael, you kind of are very shortly following Clovis, even though he's a little bit quicker than you. You all convene towards the entrance to the corridor towards the kitchen. The door itself is closed and guarded. It's seemingly that the people that are here aren't allowed through this way. But the Lord's Alliance members are told to let you guys through by the order of Tiri. And you see, Ash, that this, although everything is a lot to take in, you start noticing that everyone listens to it, Tiri, and obeys his order, so to speak.
Have some kind of authority here now.
Yeah, and like, to you, that's kind of like, even in all of this, the whole thought of, he's made it, kind of passes, even if fleeting, but you see that people look at him with
I think at first it's this pang of jealousy, as is kind of usual between Ash and Tiri, but then it's kind of, you know what, good for him.
Yeah. You guys are all together, escorted through. Killian, however, at this point, has not followed any of you and has gone and made his way outside, but none of you have noticed him leave.
Fair. So we treated him the entire time he was with us.
Don't say that. I keep asking about him occasionally.
I saved him.
You guys walked through the hallway and down to the end and to the left towards where the kitchen is. There is nobody in here. The stove itself isn't lit.
Have I seen S at all?
You have not.
Oh, fuck me. Okay, continue.
You were all walked into the kitchen, and immediately you noticed that where there was an abundance of food and cooking and the smells that filled this chamber, they are no longer here. It is kind of desolate within this kitchen. But Tiri points you all towards a table and you all take a seat. And that's where we're going to have a quick break.
Oh.
Fucking hell.
Okay.
We're going to go and have a quick break. We have 15 minutes, so given the time, I'm going to say come back at 5-2, guys. So everyone at home, I know this is a lot to take in, and you must be at the edge of your seats wanting to know what the fuck has happened.
Yeah, me too. Me
right.
too.
But go get yourselves some refreshments. If you're in the UK, it's weltering right now, but wherever in the world you are, go get some refreshments, have 15 minutes, come back, and we'll find out exactly what's happened to the realm of Faerun. See you soon.
Jesus.
Are
Hello,
we playing or are we
everyone.
just suffering.
You're suffering. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Thank you so much for sticking with us. We hope that you've enjoyed your break. I know that these guys haven't. So, let's kick back in.
I had a great bagel.
Yeah. So, you guys all sit down, gather at the table. And Tiri turns to you all and goes, well, I imagine you have a lot of questions. Don't throw them at me all at once, but I'll answer them as best as I can.
When did
What
it happen?
What has happened?
That
Sorry,
was two. Let's just start with one at a time, shall we?
Curvis, you go.
Maybe.
It's more or less the same question. What and when?
Not long after you went through the portal, say a few weeks, we caught word that there were movements in the north, small towns and villages being plundered and set to flame. It seems that whatever had befallen the south had made its way north, and people were put to the sword. A great many riches and people's trinkets and any odd coin that they could get hold of, they were collecting and traveling even further north. We don't know how far north it has spread, but most of the hinterlands have been put to the blaze. Many of the major cities were left untouched for a while. It seemed that whatever army that this force has gathered saw that there was a little more challenge to a highly defendable place such as Waterdeep, Neverwinter, and the like. But that didn't take long before the people of the city decided that, well, it was only a matter of time before they'd come for them next. So people have been fleeing all over the land, trying to find a safe haven. When Vincent caught wind of what was happening, he couldn't stand idly by, and sent most of us out into the surrounding area to find any survivors.
Was he dead?
We brought as many back here as we could, but people have been coming here for weeks. But it wasn't just survivors that we found. It was other forces, evil in nature, kobolds and dragonkin alike. We set forth north, a bit further than we were supposed to. I led a party of around 6 of us to a smaller town just 40 or so miles north of here. We were almost too late. We fought as hard as we could, but we sustained a lot of casualties, and if not casualties, injuries.
Which town?
It was a town of Greneth, just east of... Oh, he says, pulling his map up very quickly because it's not up and it was, and he says... it's just east of Everland.
And the forces that pillaged these lands, have they grown substantially, I would assume, given the devastation?
They have. They have amassed quite a force. But they're not the only ones that are amassing strength. The forces of good have been doing the same. From what I hear, there is a garrison to the east of Waterdeep. Quite a large garrison of fighters. Word has been sent to the last strongholds in this land to send any able-bodied men, women, and children there.
Oh, Waterdeep still stands.
For the most part, but it is in the hands of the enemy.
How much of it? From where?
That I do not know.
Any idea of where these king people came from?
The who people?
Dragonkin, kobolds.
We do
Any
not.
sort of origin?
We have no idea. Vincis, when more and more people started flooding in here, knew that if this place remained unguarded, that a great many more lives could be lost.
Aye.
So he has been practicing a ritual for some time now, and is in a form of trance, not to be disturbed.
By himself?
But he is drawing on the energy of this world and forming a barrier around this place, an impenetrable barrier that cannot be seen into by the enemy. It is what
Similar.
little safe haven we have left.
Is it? What about the forces of Alovan? Have they stepped forward at all?
I sent word out, but none has yet returned. Now that is because the individual that we sent with word has not returned. We don't know if they've been able to make it back. No matter which road you take these days, there are plights on them. So many, if they haven't traveled already, seems that their fate may be sealed already.
So you
You
say
see-
the Dragonkin army, for lack of a better term, are holding up in Waterdeep? They're using as a base of operations?
That I do not know. I know that a few months back they took control of the city and the roads leading from it. I do not have as much information as you may want. I am limited, and word has not reached here for a number of weeks.
Have you heard from Trolara? Or Phalanx?
We caught word of them as they entered Waterdeep. They had successfully infiltrated the cult, but then, from then, we've heard nothing.
How long ago?
Months. 3 months,
Uthar.
4 months at best.
Okay.
What of Uthar and the Harpers? What about that lot? What are they doing now?
I do not know of who you speak of. But as I say, most of the forces of good in this world have made forth to the garrison. We are lucky that we managed to get some members of the Lord's Alliance that were passing by on patrol to stay here and defend these people, such as their oath to defend all against evil.
Is it just the big cities that survive now? The major settlements? Neverwinter, Waterdeep, Baldur's Gates, the library?
We do not know.
Have you been taking names of those that are here, census of survivors of any kind? I
have
know
been
that
trying. For the most part, people have come from all over.
I would like to have a look at that if I can at any point. I know I'm not the only one with family out there that would appreciate that.
Of course, it's in my... with my things. I shall fetch it soon.
You see Ash swallow deeply before asking, what of Yartar?
We do not know.
Is it so close?
The last we heard that forces were moving from that area and to and from, but we do not know of the current situation.
So they've been there.
They've been all over, Ash.
S?
S is currently out. He's sent word to the garrison, and we've asked for more men.
Okay.
More fighting men. But he's yet to return. He left around a week ago.
Next question, I guess. What can we do?
What can you do? Here, you can sit and stay with us as long as you need. I know the people here will thank you for your protection, and we could use some more able-bodied people. But I fear that that is not where your fight leads.
Our abilities lend to more direct means of action.
Yeah, I want to be proactive. I can't sit back and watch. And as much as you guys need protection, you have soldiers here for that. If we can go and take the fight to them in any way, I don't speak for them, but that's where I want to go.
Well, if that is the case, then maybe the garrison is the best place for you. I know that there have been smaller assaults been led from there, scouting missions and more. And it is where the
garrison?
That I do not know. Currently there are a number of different armies stationed there. Who is actually in charge? I have no idea.
Okay.
I have not been able to leave here since I returned. My current state of health is not where I'd like it to be, but I have been placed here, and Vincis has asked me to command in his stead until he returns.
What happened to you? And you can see it's from a place of genuine concern.
You know, when we were growing up here, and you kept telling me that fighting you was a mistake and it was a fight I could not win, and
No.
I kept picking fights with the bigger and older people to try and test my strength. Yeah. I may have bitten off a little more than I could chew, and went about things the wrong way. I wasn't as quick as you. Maybe if I had been, that this may not have ever happened. But it's alright. It's okay.
It doesn't matter. You did what you had to do.
And now I'm missing an arm. You might actually be able to beat me.
I would have beat you before if I hadn't passed out, you know?
I know.
And don't worry, we know all about biting off more than you can chew. We could have been a little quicker ourselves.
Where have you been? When I returned, Vince said that you were here, and that you had to go and rescue a friend from Feywild or something.
And that's where I've been. It's been 2 days for us. 3. It's been 2 days.
I fear that what's happening in this world is causing things to happen everywhere, on different planes. But we have turned our eye to this world now. And we are still protecting the border between planes, but what we've found is that since this has all started happening in the north, we've felt disturbances between our world and other planes.
Maybe that's what was causing the weather disturbance.
I think that was Ashby.
But when she went, that's not how the Feywild is.
No, but... And you can see she stops herself for a second. We did not exactly help those who may have been in control.
Those who we
Fair.
perceived as being in control may have actually been trying to keep back whatever was already happening before Zashbei came. We don't know.
Well, as much as I am for protecting other realms, if you have no home to go back to, it's no point. We need to help what's going on here.
Well,
Can you?
I mean this in the nicest way possible, coming from a man with one eye and one arm. But you're in no fit state to fight anything right now. You all look tired and beaten. I think the first thing that you guys need to do is rest.
Can you prepare us horses, or better, some other means of transportation in the morning?
I can certainly see what I can do. I know some of the members of the Lord's Alliance also came on horseback. I will have to ask very nicely, but maybe we'd be able to lend a few.
We would appreciate that.
What are your intentions?
Well, if we are believing the word of a god, which I might add that I think I am currently, this is where our fight begins.
Ever since he mentioned Waterdeep, like, you can see Joe, the genuine sort of like twitch in his hand where his fingers have been rapping against the table, sort of gradually getting a bit faster and faster. His eyes are sort of darting around, and he turns to Tyrion and says, "At the garrison. At the garrison, if we get there. When we get there, will they know of a place where there has to be a head to this beast, a place we can strike to cut off some command, cut off some form of order with this lot? Do you think that is there such a thing known of?"
I don't know. That is not a question I can answer. But they are the tip of the spear. And if anyone were to know, it would be them. There are members of many guilds and alliances there. From what I believe, there are Lord's Alliance, there's members of the Neverwinter Army, there are members from all over, sellswords, mercenary group, people that still fight for the side of good.
And where in Waterdeep are they?
They are outside Waterdeep. They have set up a garrison
To the east.
to the east. There is a small river that runs just to the north of Waterdeep, out into the east, and then up north. They are garrisoned between the Star Mountains and that river.
I know where that is.
Then that's where we go.
You are not far from there. 4 days' travel at best on horseback.
And what of other means of transportation?
Have I ever been there before, DM? I've been to Waterdeep, but have I ever passed through anywhere near the garrison?
I'm going to say on your way back from Waterdeep, you'll have passed about a day's travel from there.
Right.
But if you teleport there, you have to then teleport back to the monastery, don't you? So there is that.
In the morning, I'll be able to use my staff again if this is our destination, which I think we all agree is. That will take a lot of time off our journey, and I think time is of the essence, obviously. I don't know if I can travel with horses. I've only ever gone alone. The last journey was the largest group I've ever taken. So I fear that we'll be on foot for a day.
On foot would be better. We can keep low, we can keep to the shade, we can keep to the shrubbery. Horses make noise, they make sound in dust clouds. We'll be seen, we'll be spotted. We need to stay out of sight, out of the way.
My apologies at your use 100%.
Okay.
How much have you seen of these forces? Personally.
I've seen what I've seen in the small town in which I ventured to, and I've come across a few on the path back, but have I seen a great number of them? No. As you can see, I'm not in much of a fit state to try and fight right now.
And what of the level, the stature of these forces? I mean, don't let it get to your heads, but you're a pretty mighty force to take on.
They have quantity. They have sheer force of number. That is their greatest threat right now.
Okay,
Is there anyone
Because-
here that would know more that we can talk to that maybe has been closer to Waterdeep than you have?
I would ask you don't do that. These people here have been through enough, and to relive horror that has besieged them over the last few weeks, I would not advise it.
Are
I would
there,
I
admit-
understand.
are there any people from your tower that are here?
I do not know. I will have to consult the book. It wasn't just me taking names and places.
No, I understand that.
So what of
Can
your
I-
plan then? You leave in the morning?
Yeah.
You transport
Yes, we
yourselves
rest,
there?
we heal, we rest, we heal for the night only. And she glances to everyone with what she is trying to muster up as authority. The night only. And then we depart for the garrison.
Yeah.
We lost our place of rest. If you can point us to somewhere we can lay our head, we would appreciate that.
And you go alone?
That list.
Just the 5 of you. Banff barks 6 of you.
7. He
We
points to
had-
Zayla.
We had Killian.
Where is
Killian?
You don't know?
We
Ah,
may have
choice.
another.
Killian was with us, has been with us since we left Alaban.
Maybe he's trying to contact them. See what they're doing.
Maybe.
Did he have the stone?
No.
No.
Does anyone have the
You've not
means of reaching him?
Not trusted him with any magical items, let alone a sending stone.
Yeah, no, he's
I-
got nabbed.
We'll
I
find
can
him.
imagine he has things on his mind right now. If he needs to go, then he will go where he is needed.
Right.
I think we all have a fight right now. And if he feels like he has a fight somewhere else.
I know the elves are very self-concerned, but it does surprise me that Lady Bula and Lord Sandrin would.
They told us they would be here.
They may
Blew
be
the horn.
in the
We
same
have the horn.
situation.
You were right, Jove. We have the horn.
Horn?
It's a thing. We
I-
will
the-
go through it.
The lady, mainly the lady, the Lord was a bit stubborn, of Alavan gifted us this horn to blow when we required their assistance.
That
But
time
obviously-
may yet come.
They may be held up just like these people are here in some sort of protection. If they have power, they may be.
I mean, they've kept their glade hidden for a long time.
Well, as much as I think that you are very capable in what you are doing, do we think that maybe just 7 of you are enough? You have allies other than the Glen that you can call on when needed. Are there allies anywhere?
We had the gauntlet. We had Sen.
The Harpers.
I
How would-
know people
would they
in
be-
Waterdeep.
Would probably be at the garrison then.
I also know some people in Waterdeep.
If we need allies, we will have to find them amongst those at the garrison, unless
Unless
you feel
know
like you are
where
no
they
longer
are.
needed here.
I cannot leave. My place is here. And the
I think this
protection...
man has given up enough, to be fair.
Do you have means of contacting Trilara at all?
I do. And I have tried, Ash.
I need to know if he's okay. Tiri.
I will try again before the evening's done.
Do you have any
Yeah.
ways of contacting the garrison to make them aware that we're arriving?
I do not. I can with Trilara because she is known to me. I know nobody at the garrison.
No. Okay.
Do you know
Why?
the position of the Centaurim?
I do not.
You've not
Did
seen
COVID
them raid or pillage or fight back? I mean, I know they're a bunch of scumbags, but
I have not heard the movements of many of the other guilds. I have tried not to worry too much about. They are forces of good. Anybody that isn't them are forces for good. And that's what you must be. A force for good. And I believe you are. From what I know of you, you are. You cannot do this alone. Call on whoever you can call on. Gather whoever you can gather. And make way to the garrison. From there, you might be able to connect your will on the world for good.
Clovis, I
Hmm?
heard you talking to someone in the portal room. I don't mean to bring that up, but are they safe?
Tiri, will you give us the room? Just for a moment.
Sure. Take as much time as you need. And he kind of like just kind of stands himself up and kind of like hobbles out of the room.
Terry, just before you leave, don't forget about that list. Please.
He turns and walks away.
Okay.
Yes, they are on their way to safety at least, but it will be some days until they arrive. Eros is with them, Darlin, and some others.
Good.
They didn't actually say where they were, though, apart from a couple of days away.
Yes, and for that reason, and others, I think we may have to part ways for a short time.
You want to leave
What?
us?
No. No, not by any means. But I can get us out of a few tricky situations and talk my way out of a tavern, but fight a war on the front lines, I cannot. But there are things I can do. Things I maybe should have been around to do, and things that other people were sent to do in my stead. I mean, You saw Phalanx in the caravan, didn't you? Phil and Phil. I fear for his safety. And your other friend, Ash. I feel like my place in this fight, and I think on what Feathers told us, that we all have our own individual parts to play. And I am more suited to other roles. So I propose to you, and this is not a decision I will make alone, that I go to Waterdeep ahead of you. That I try to find my way into the cult, to find some word of Phalanx, to get more information, my way, where I can't mess anything up for the rest of you.
I think you underestimate yourself. You fought very well alongside us. I get that you have people and you feel you work alone, but I don't think that that is sending one person into the belly of the beast is a ludicrous idea right now. I'm sorry to be so blunt, but we have means of contacting people, and if they may be at the garrison, the way we're heading anyway. They said that they were a couple of days away. He said that the garrison was a couple of days away. They may be right there right now. I don't feel you going off alone is going to strengthen us in any way.
It would not be the sole purpose. Look, this is what I've always done, and more, I am out of my depth and away from my favored terrain, and now I hear we are to go to war? Me!
You knew this when we started, Clovis. When we
You
stood
think
in
I
the
ever
cave
thought it would get
in
this
Celestia,
far?
what did you think we were going to be doing? Where did you think this was leading? Every time I have talked to you and said, we are saving the world, what did you think I was alluding to? I don't use the word alluding, I'm not that smart.
Yeah,
what did you think I was...
You read a book. Sorry.
Look,
what did you think we were going to be doing?
And this is what I am proposing. I am proposing I use my abilities in the most effective means to reverse whatever's going on, to try and get more information, which seems to be sorely lacking. We don't know what we're up against. Who's to say they know any more? I can get in there. I know I can.
We just went into a fight knowing nothing, and you told me we could get through it. If we couldn't get through that and get back here, what were we doing? You convinced me of that, Clovis, and now you want to turn tail from the fight because we don't know enough?
Do you think I'm turning tail?
Sounds like you're...
I'm proposing I walk into the heart of the beast, rub shoulders with their commanders and officers.
You don't have to. We have been together since Lakeside. You are the last brother I have out here. Fido is gone. Sen is gone.
I am not
have been with you since the beginning of this, Clovis. I am not seeing you walking into danger on your own because you think it's the best place for you. I have people in Waterdeep. My family is there. My friends are there. But what may remain of them, I want to go too. I want to know what's left for me there, if anything. And I'm not having you walk in there to not walk out or be discovered. They know who you are. They know you turned tail when we were in Greenest. They know you don't work for them.
I don't think that he's turning tail, but I think Jove is right. If the Feywild has taught us anything, going in blind is not the best option.
This is not me going in blind. This is what I do. Listen, I'm not suggesting that I will leave any of you. I'm not suggesting I will abandon our goal for my own, personal quest. I'm simply proposing that I do what I'm best at to give you all the upper hand when the time comes. I am not saying we will never see each other again. Lord, I hope we will see each other sooner rather than later. I am not leaving you. I am not leaving the Fallen. And again, I will take on everything you say and base our plan on that. This is part of a plan, Jove. This is not a long, sad goodbye. God knows I'm not very good at those, and if that was my intention, I would have left while you all slept.
Look, if infiltration is what you're good at, it's not my domain, but I at least ask you to join us to the garrison. You can infiltrate from there. I would rather we travel together to get the most information we can before you enact your plan. So we can, I mean, it may be the best option trying to infiltrate whatever they've got going on. But right now, we do not have that information to rightly make that plan. So please, I think Feathers would ask you to stay, at least into the garrison.
Well, look. I think that I can really help in this war effort in a way that maybe others can't. And I feel like I've been contending with this whole idea of being chosen this whole time because I don't see my place in it. And yes, I can be useful sometimes. But let's be honest here. Let's be serious for a minute. Sentiment aside. Where would you place me? Jove, I know where I would place you. Ash, Michael, Hallie, I know where I would place you.
I know where I would place you. At my back.
Dan, could you get your
Behind
DMs?
me. Because you stand behind us. Sure, you don't throw an axe or wield a sword or shoot an arrow.
Then for once,
You
let me stand
do.
ahead of you. Let me return the favor, this once. I shan't disappoint you.
It's not about disappointment, Clovis. It's not about what you should do and where you should be and how. That was the reason I did what I did and learned what I had to do. You can't leave.
I'm
You
not
can't
leaving.
leave. Yes, you are. You are going into the heart of whatever this is in hopes that you get where you want to go and get out of it on the other side.
Isn't that what we're all doing?
Yeah, but at least as a group, at least as a team, as a clan, as you told me we were, we can do it together. I can protect you. I can make sure that the swords don't come to your back. I can make sure that you don't fall. No, Clovis, no, you can't go.
My friend,
No,
be calm.
I am. If I
are
wasn't,
not.
this chair would be at the wall right now. I just don't want to lose you too.
I don't want to be lost, believe me.
And don't wander away. Stay with me. Stay with the fallen. We can do this together. I know I'm not smart and not, stealthy or particularly good at, pretending to be other people, but I know what I can do for you as much as you know what you can do for me. You need to stay. Stay.
Your words are comforting and
I know I've not been
I
as good a
understand.
friend to you as Feathers has been. I know I'm not that person. I know I've shouted at you and you've shouted at me and we've had our differences and I don't know, whatever. I know I ain't that guy, but doesn't mean I don't care. It doesn't mean I want to see you go.
so you'd rather see me follow you to the front lines of a war.
Yeah. I would. And hey, maybe that's just Maybe that's just the Battleborn in me talking. Maybe that's just the Axe Wielder. But at least, if I know you are behind me, that I have trust behind me, someone I could rely on behind me, and you have someone in front of you, and then we're stronger together. Same with all of us.
You might be right.
When
I
you
might not
say
want-
when you say all of us, Jove, and kind of glance around, you like nod to all of them. You kind of nod towards Ali and Michael, but Ash is nowhere to be seen.
I really wish people would stop disappearing.
Let me speak to
better
her.
at noticing things.
Let me speak to her. But look, I will not make any decision lightly. I only wish to serve this cause to the best of my ability and then return to your side. Once I have given us,
let's do it.
once I have given us the advantage which clearly we desperately need. But it is something I must do alone. Not out of the want of solitude or guilt towards anyone or wishing to have time away from the rest of you. Honestly, my time with you is the best I've had. As harrowing and torturous as it has been sometimes. I know I can make a difference this way. And if I fall in that pursuit, I fell in the pursuit of making the most impact possible for what I am able to do.
No. If you fall at my side. And I pick you up in the same way you pick me up. No, you can't convince me this is a good idea. There is no kind word, nice way of stringing a sentence together that you could tell me that this is a good idea. I will not let you go, Clovis. I will follow you wherever you go if I have to. You will not get rid of me. I will not let you do this. Because I cannot watch you go alone. This is something we do together. As a group, as a family, as a clan, as people who have lost far too much in this world.
One thing I've learned from what's transpired here and now is that we should not sacrifice the fate of the world for selfish reasons. And we must be selfless now. And you may not wish for me to fall anywhere else other than by your side, but if I can help in some way to stop that happening to anyone else, or even a few less people, look, I'll take on board what you're saying, and clearly I must speak with Asher, but
Sally puts her hands on the table and just stands up, pushes the chair back. Look, I don't know your skills as well as the rest of them, but I saw your skills in the Feywild, and I know I would feel more comfortable with you by my side, able to get us out of a tricky situation. But you must fight the way you fight. If it comes down to a vote, my vote is you stay with us. But right now, that's all I can say. When you guys have made up your minds, I'm gonna go and try and find a place for us to rest. And she does. She kind of just exits.
thank you, Ali. Your contribution is meaningful to me, so I will take it under consideration.
I vote no.
Look.
I'm not letting you go.
No, Jove. You couldn't get rid of me if you tried.
Stop trying.
Just trying to help you.
Look, the warrior that puts his neck to the axe isn't selfless, he's stupid. Don't do something you think you have to do if in a dangerous situation because you think it might work. Do something you know will work. Stay with us. Fight in the right places at the right times.
How many battlefields do you think I've seen, Jove? Apart since before we met you. In fact, Greenest was the first.
So, everyone starts somewhere.
But for many years, I have integrated myself amongst many different cultures and societies. I have manipulated them. I have gained information. Information not privy to anyone. This is what I do. And you haven't seen the half of it yet. Most of the time, we've been in the fucking wilderness, and in the fucking Feywild, and underground. And a battlefield is certainly not where I'm about to show you how I can really shine. I know what I'm doing.
In the meantime, Ash, you managed to kind of like take a couple of steps back during the most heated part of this conversation.
Yeah. Kind of when Jove and Clovis are most going at it, that's when she kind of dips back.
And as you kind of exit with one place in mind that you're going, you start racing through the hall. Just before you... So as you kind of run out the kitchen, turn right to go down the long corridor, past the door on the left-hand side where you guys slept that night, we tried to resurrect feathers. As you kind of go to rush past that, an arm reaches out and grabs your hand.
I kind of immediately in frenzy put my hands up and just look to who it is.
And Tiri stood and he kind of like takes his hand off and goes, "It's okay. It's okay." And he kind of like takes a couple of steps forward and just places his hand on your shoulder and just goes, "It's okay.
Tyria, I need you to promise me that V is okay. I will not interrupt him, but I need you to swear to me that he is okay."
Asher, I swear to you that he's fine. He's doing what he needs to. You know, when I got back here, V said that you'd been, and I was so excited. I thought I'd get to see you again. And then he told me that you'd gone, left as quick as you got here. And it reminded me that, yeah, of course you did. You're always running towards something or from something.
It's what I do. Don't stick around enough to see the consequences.
No.
And now I am.
Now you are.
I'm seeing them far too clearly.
But it's not just consequences that you leave in places that you've been. People. Ash. You affect people in a way that you probably don't even think. You think you're this terrible, gobby person that just likes to punch things and piss people off. And yes, for the most part, that's what you do. But the rest of the time, you're kind. You're thoughtful. You think I didn't know that you were sneaking cakes out of the kitchen all those years and taking them into the forest to give them to your friends? Did you think that I didn't know the days that were really hot in here and you'd fill my pitcher near my bed to make sure that I didn't go thirsty in the morning? You might be an arsehole, Ash, but you're a really good one.
Tyria, I'm nothing. I am nothing. I am a speck of dust. And for some reason, 2 gods have noticed me. Tyria, you have always been more deserving of all of this than I have.
I have not. You know, I used to look at you with such disdain, and I used to act and walk around like I was better than you. I believed it for so long. And you know, Vince's was the only one I was trying to convince that I was better than you because I wanted his approval, and yet you were always the fucking favourite. And it was only once you were gone that I got respect. Are you kidding? You're a speck of dust. Gods have seen you. I have seen you. Friends have seen you. Don't carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. And don't beat yourself up. It's a fight you can't win.
We saw a broken girl who refused to clean the monastery, who refused to do anything she was told. That's what he saw. And for some reason, you were the one who rose through the ranks faster than I did. You were the one who did the teachings the way you were supposed to.
You're right. You were the one that never did as you were told or asked. You were the one that stood in the face of adversity time and time again and said no. And did things your way. And that's what's made you who you are today. And I'm proud of you. Very proud of you. You'll always have a place here, Ash. This is your home. And it'll always be your home. But you don't belong here. You belong out there, telling people to fuck off and punching them in the chin if they don't. So go. Go where you need to go. Do what you need to do. Don't feel bad about it. Never feel bad. Consequences are what they are. The past ripples of our future transgressions, but that's all they are. They're past. Been and gone. You can't change them. It is what it is. Just go out and make more mistakes. That's what really defines us.
And I've made a lot of those.
Yeah. You have. A lot more than me, and I lost a fucking eye. I love you, Ash. Like a sister, I do.
I love you too, Terry. I'm sorry. I was so jealous of you. Of the way you were able to fit in so easily.
The wolf should never be jealous of the sheep. Go. Go where you need to go. Don't be gone too long. I can't afford to send anyone after you. As you sprint down the hallway.
Yeah, kind of like before I sprint away, Ash kind of like hugs him and gives him a kiss on the cheek before just nodding and sprinting off.
And you race through the main hall, out the gate, through the courtyard, and off, out, down the steps, into the Dan's fucking face, man.
I'm not. I'm staying somewhat close. It's me. It's fine. I can back in a heartbeat. It's all good.
As you disappear off into the high forest. Hallie.
Yeah.
You leave, and as you leave, you see the door down the hallway slammed shut, and Theory's just kind of stood, kind of turns to you and goes, "Oh, yeah, your list. Sorry. Give me a minute."
Could you possibly point us in a direction of where we can lay our heads for the evening?
Yeah, I mean, you know your place around. You know, you can take the normal sleeping quarters, so you know where you're going. You've been here a long time, Hallie.
I know. I didn't know if they were occupied.
Oh, no. We've cordoned this area off for us. It's the only place that we have for ourselves now. Make yourself comfortable wherever you like.
Then, once you have the list, I will be in the normal quarters I think they need a minute, and yeah.
Yeah, sure. Well, this is where the list is. It's next to my sleeping mat, so I'll show you. And he kind of walks into the sleeping quarters, walks over and hands you a small ledger.
Hallie will sit down on an available mat and start going through, and she's looking for those 3 particular names.
Okay. So something that you notice almost immediately is the first, 3 or 4 pages are very neatly, written. And then it's sort of, the neat handwriting almost immediately stops, and this kind of, cat scratch handwriting starts. You do not see the names that you're looking for.
I presume that takes me a minute, but
it's gonna take you a little while.
Okay.
There's quite a few names in here, but yes. So you spend a little bit of time going through that. Clovis, Michael, and Jove, what are you 3 doing?
So after we sort of finish that discussion and there's a few moments of quiet, I'll just look over to Michael. You've been awfully quiet. What's your say in all this? If you were given your best chance to stop them, would you take it?
In a heartbeat. Or whatever is left of my heartbeat.
It's still there.
Joe, you've known him for way longer than I have. At least I think so. Do you trust him?
Yeah. Always have.
And always will, right?
Till given a reason to not to, yeah. Just because I trust someone doesn't mean I let them walk away to do something they think they need to do.
I know.
Well,
but do you trust that he can come back? That he will do everything in his power to come back to us?
I think he'll try. Don't know if he'll succeed. Don't know if he just wanders into Waterdeep, into the heart of the enemy, and just goes. And is never seen again. Never heard from again. And I sit, and I wait, and I fight, not knowing that my friend is dead somewhere, or captured, or worse. The reason we went for feathers, wasn't it? It's the reason we spent so much time away, because we couldn't deal with the idea of her being trapped in Zashbe's clutches. So now you just expect me to watch you wander into the heart of the cult and maybe get caught in theirs. Then we have to come rescue you.
it would be slightly more than just wandering in, but
I think they
Look,
underestimate him.
I understand your concern completely. But you met me, and this is how you've always known me. I wouldn't be suggesting this if it's not something I thought I could do and that I thought could make a difference. More so than what meager spells I can throw out on a battlefield. This is what I know, This is what I've always applied myself to. And I've done very well at it. Well, for the most part.
This ain't that anymore, though, is it? This ain't rich people with no more sense than they got money, thinking you're someone you're not, worming your way in, making friends in the right places, shaking all the hands, looking all the people in the eye, and saying, "Hey, look at me, I'm rich too," and I don't know whatever the hell you do.
It's a little more complicated than that, but I appreciate what you're saying. But we know more of them, their inner workings, than we did the first time we tried this, and I ended up peeling turnips. But even then, we got out. We made it. I could do this, and push comes to shove, I can flee. I have ways of escape. But Phalanx has not been heard from. There may be information that could help the entire army. We need someone on the inside, and I do agree with what Hallie said, that it may be good to go to the garrison first, together as one. Maybe I could join up with the Harpers. They might be able to provide some support. I don't know, but this isn't me running away from you. This isn't me running away from the fight. It's doing my part. Like Feathers said, we all have parts to play. And for the first time, I feel like this is where I come in. And yes, I may be able to handle myself in a fight. I may be able to manipulate things or get you out of trouble, but what you need now is warriors. And I am not that. I am, however, incredibly deceptive, incredibly manipulative. I can make this work, and once I do, I'll be right there fighting alongside you. I always will have been, but if it's physical proximity that you want, you have my word. I will do everything I can to get back to you and rejoin you in the fight once the work is done.
Jervis kind of places his hands to the table and just pushes the chair up very slowly. He sort of heaves himself up and goes, "It's just choices, isn't it? Just people making choices."
It's all it's ever been.
I don't know why I thought I could convince you of anything.
You came pretty close.
No, I didn't. Because if I did, I would have worked. You do what you feel you need to do, Clovis. And yeah, I vote no, but everyone else seems to have their opinions. So you do whatever it is you do, and I guess the Fallen will just fall apart.
Not at all.
Go to it. Well, we were supposed to stick together. You thought we needed feathers because we were the Fallen. One of the reasons
I was wrong.
No, you weren't. Maybe her part was done, and now it's Mike's turn to be part of this.
Maybe mine too.
Because you want it to be, not because it's being forced upon you. He just sort of slides the chair back in and just quietly walks towards the kitchen door. You do whatever you gotta do, Clovis. If you don't want to stay, if you don't want to be with me, then fine. Go. I'll see you when you get back. He just opens the door and just gently walks out.
Just such a character development for you. This is a breath of fresh air.
Honestly, bro.
I turn to Michael and I turn to Michael and I just say, I wish there was a way for him to see how wrong he was. Thank
Brother.
you.
I hope you don't mind if I call you that.
We're all
Seeing as
brothers.
what we most likely been through, I don't know, maybe 90 plus years before this bullshit happened. It only seems fitting. Let me tell you something that I've found out. They underestimated you the first time they saw you. Something inside me thinks that they've always underestimated you. And I'm not talking about the Fallen.
I know exactly who you're talking about. And I'm relying on that exact fact.
So you do me a favor.
Speak it.
When it's done, promise you'll come back to us. Because these people need you. You're a leader, whether you like it or not. You're a voice of sometimes reason, most times chaos, but trust me, we all need a little bit of chaos.
It's exactly what I'm planning on sowing.
But that's not what I need you to promise me the most.
I
I
promise.
need you to promise me that you give them hell.
Well, that goes without saying.
If you ever find the fucker that told us that we weren't good enough, send him my regards when you send him down to hell.
I'll try to save that pleasure for the both of us.
Michael reaches out an arm.
Clovis goes to sort of daintily sort of put his hand in yours, and then grabs your wrist in a warrior's handshake.
He
I
hugs you.
promise. And as he stumbles as he's about to say that, as you come in for a hug, he sort of gives a bit of one of the awkward pats, and then just lets his hand rest on your back. You have your promise. I will return to you.
Good. Now you
And I
still
also
need to get
promise-
the blessing of Ash, which is
I feel I may need to speak to her individually. She is not coping well.
well, good luck.
Well, hopefully she hasn't run off very far. She's incredibly fast.
Yeah, I am.
Did we know?
I'll see you back at our quarters. And I'll head out, and if I see Tiri
Mm-hmm.
sort of anywhere near outside, I'll just sort of give like a which way did she go kind of thing.
You do see him, and he just kind of goes, he has no idea, and then just kind of points towards the door,
I'll go outside and see if I can see her just around anywhere.
You do not. You do not see her anywhere in the courtyard. You see Edredor kind of posted towards the gate at the far end of the courtyard. Kind of looking out, hands on his shoulders, just kind of
The gate
not his
leading.
shoulders, on his hips. That'd be weird. That'd be a weird pose.
Hi, Clovis.
Hi.
How have you been? It's been a while.
Just walking through the courtyard.
It's the fucking Tweez again. Hands are on his hips.
Hi.
He's at the gate leading out
Yes.
out of this place.
And you're just kind of looking out and just kind of hands on his hips.
Okay. I'll wander up beside him and say, "It's good to see you've made it this far, old friend."
I didn't think you would.
Neither did I, to be honest. But it's been a rough road.
Yeah, for you and me both. You all right?
No. But no.
Well,
working through it in my way.
All any of us can do. It's been a while. Months. I
How are your family?
They're okay. Given the circumstance. I
Relieved to hear it.
Well, I went back to Belloc with the Governor Nighthill's command to try and rebuild and run what I could, but not many people returned. It was hard.
I had wondered if you might be able to help with something. We have one among our party who originated from Belloc.
Oh, okay.
You should see her, a tiefling young lady, red of hair, carrying a staff.
Yeah, I used to know her. Family lived there.
Well, about that, she has learned of the fate of Belloc and is much concerned for the safety of her family. Now, I do not wish to hear personal details before her, so if you have any information as to that, I'm sure she would greatly appreciate not only news, but a familiar face.
Yeah, I can, I'll speak with her. Where are you going?
Well, I was wondering if you'd seen the blue one.
Oh. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, like kind of...
Stars in the hair.
Yeah. There was not much stopping her. She's ran that way. And just kind of points towards the forest and towards the big tree.
Can I see the great tree from here?
Yes, and he is pointing in that direction.
Okay, I'll say. Very well. Is that within the barrier as well, the great tree?
Nope.
Oh, cool.
Well, I better go.
Nobody asked me that just until then, but you just like, I'm going there. So, okay, fine. Sure.
This picture of Ash just smacking into a solid dome as she's run.
Well, I'd better
Hey,
check on the sheet.
Yeah, listen, what's going on out there? I'm not much use here. I'm just trying to keep note of people that are here, but my family is safe. That's all I ever need, and I feel there's much more that I could be doing, you know?
It would be an honor to have you beside us. Again, I would speak with Jove.
Yeah.
We plan to make our way towards the thick of it come the morning.
Yeah, I'll do that. Your friend wasn't the only one that left, though. There was another, like, dark-haired dude. Looks kind of similar to you, but without the facial hair. Kind of hooded, greenish armor and stuff.
Right. Bow on his back.
Yeah. Yeah, he left pretty much just, well... Before I saw you jump off the thing.
Oh, he left before she did?
Oh, a good while before. And he's yet to return.
He knows where he's going.
Do you?
Big tree.
Can't miss it. Be careful out there.
I always am.
Well, he kind of like pats you, like a really kind of like strong, hearty pat on the back. He's like,
I stumble.
good to see you.
A pleasure, as always. And I'll start heading towards the great tree.
Okay.
Keeping an eye out for Killian,
Yeah.
in case he's in a bush crying somewhere.
Did I pass Killian at all?
No, you didn't.
Okay,
He left.
cool.
He left well in advance of you. You don't know where he is.
Cool.
Not heard of
Alright.
him. Not seen him.
We didn't
Nothing.
treat that guy well at all, did we?
No, not really.
Here's your second chance. Who might be coming with you now? Is a second chance to be good to an NPC.
He's alive.
Yeah.
As you start racing through the thicket, through the forest, so you come to the grandfather.
Yeah. As I reach the grandfather tree, I plonk myself down. I take out Apathy, and I take out the feather that I took from Feathers' body. I take out a small knife. I begin to whittle away at Apathy, creating an indentation so that the feather can be embedded within my staff.
Okay. I will allow it.
Thank you.
The magical item, you can't technically do that, but I will allow it because it's cute.
It's because of something you gave me. So
It's cute.
You break your
I use the
staff.
magical hammer to hammer the feather into the magical eye.
I have that.
Oh, yeah.
You do so. It takes you a small amount of time, but you finally finish it, and you kind of like sit with your back against the tree. You're there for a bit of time in your own thoughts.
I think during this kind of time of being alone, Ash looks up. Bahamut, Stormlord, apparently you both noticed me for some reason. You say that mainly you, Stormlord, say that I represent some kind of balance, but at the moment, nothing feels in balance. Nothing feels like it should. Maybe, I don't know, is this your plan? If this is your plan, I'm not going to lie, this is kind of fucked up. And exemplifying the reason I never gave two shits about any of you in the first place. But V is alive. Most of my friends are alive. And I'm trying. I'm trying so hard not to run from it all. Trying so hard to run before the going gets tough, as I've always done before. And if you are listening, I just need you to know that I am trying. And I will try to get rid of whatever the fuck has taken over this realm. But I can't make any promises that I will be successful. I just can't. And you see she kind of, well, you would see, but she begins to kind of levitate, her hair billowing in the breeze, Apathy, with this feather from Feathers ingrained into her staff on her lap, holding it, and she just sits there, eyes closed, levitating off the ground beneath the big grandfather tree, the one place she's ever felt like she's been able to let go.
You do so. You're there for a short period of time until the rustle of feathers, fucking idiot, a rustle of leaves as someone approaches.
You see Clovis kind of...
Oh, I never said it was Clovis.
Oh, okay.
No, it is Clovis. I just said it. I was trying to cue you up, bro. Look,
You see Clovis kind of hopping out sideways on one foot from out of a thicket covered in thorns.
She opens one eye. and the other. You off?
No, I thought I might stay a little longer. And I'll walk up and just kind of sit on the ground next to where she's levitating.
Mm-hmm.
I will lower myself to the ground.
Very kind of you.
Lower myself for you.
And I just sort of sit next to her, facing forwards for a little while. You know I'm coming back, don't you? You know I'm not leaving you. We will still be fighting the same fight.
I think we're both similar in that we've always been the ones to do the leaving. So I don't know for sure if you're coming back. But I understand, and I trust your abilities. I think maybe more than the others do. I trust that you're beyond capable of fooling those sons of bitches. I just don't know if I can do this without you.
You'll be doing it with me. Two ends of the pencil. Me from within, you from without. Listen. You're incredibly capable. And so I need you with them to look after them. And I know you have friends that you're worried about as well. And so part of my goal will be finding out what I can about them and bringing them back to you. And I'll miss you for the short time that I'll be gone. And I'll try to make it as short as I can. Believe me, I'm not looking to go deep cover for the next 6 months of a war, committing God knows what atrocities.
Please don't do that.
I merely wish to find an edge, a chink in their armor, learn what I can, knock a couple of chess pieces off the board if possible, maybe take some of their places.
You see that she's kind of fiddling with the ring that we got when we were pretending in El Torel. And she kind of she hasn't made eye contact with you at all, and she's just like, you said way back in El Torel that your raison d'etre was to never fall in love, but honestly making friends, that's also something I never said that I would do. Because it hurts so much when they leave. I have never lost anyone because I've never allowed myself to leave. I've never allowed myself to have them leave. I've always gone first. Phalanx was the only friend I knew before you and Feathers and Jove. I didn't get to know Sen too well, but you all welcomed me with open arms. I know that you are capable, and I know that you are able to do this. I don't know. It feels like everything's fracturing around us.
I don't want it to feel that way. I don't want this to feel like I'm leaving. because I'm not. I'm still of the fallen. I'm still your friend. Your dear friend. And I would not abandon any of you. Just as much as I didn't want to abandon Feathers. And Jove said he likes to know that I'm behind him, and that it makes him feel strong. But eventually we must all place ourselves at the front. And I cannot see any other way for me to do so other than this. And I have every confidence that I'll be able to take care of myself. Although I would like to propose a trade.
Okay. And for the first time she catches your eye.
Rolls up his sleeves, undoes his shirt buttons, collar buttons, and pulls back the things to show the braces of defense that you gave me.
Ah.
I can't imagine it'll do me any favors to get caught with these, but you've got a rather lovely hat I might be interested in. Can't imagine it'll do you much good on a battlefield.
No.
I think you're right. Jove has the bracelet.
It was Jove who gave you them. But
I gave you the braces. I gave you those ages ago.
Oh, of course, you have the
before
arm
me.
wraps, don't you? You have the arm
I have
wraps.
the arm
Sorry, I'm
wraps.
getting things confused in my head. But I'll just take them out and I'll say...
I mean, I might as well not bucket beer, had I really?
No.
Shut up.
Oh.
Oh.
Yes, I can't imagine it'll do me much favors to get caught with these.
I mainly kept hold of this in case we went back to Waterdeep. And we are, but I feel like I should face the music maybe as myself. Got a lot
Couldn't
of
agree
making
more.
up for.
I take it and I say, facing the music exactly as who I am is what I'm trying to do. Do you understand that?
I do. Clovis, you have this way about you that right from when we met in Candlekeep, I knew you were not trustworthy per se, but it was as though you were, I don't know.
Reliably unreliable.
Reliably unreliable. That is a good way of putting it.
And as we have that little giggly moment, he just kind of kicks back and just lies back with his hands like that, looking up at the trees and the branches of the great tree.
She kind of mirrors his movements. It's a nice place, isn't it?
No, I always preferred cities, but something about a really big tree, you know?
It's pretty fucking cool. You promise me. And she kind of sits up, puts a hand on your knee. You promise me you are coming back to us.
I'll do everything I can.
Do you have the other sending stone?
I do.
When it is safe, you keep in touch.
I'm not sure that it will be safe enough.
Even if it's a cough. A cough into a sending stone, just... I need to know that you're okay.
Very well. I'll keep hold of it for now. And if I need to discard it for whatever reason, I'll try to let you know beforehand.
And also get me another one, if you have to discard it. Like, those things are expensive.
You two lay there for some time, just in small talk, before you both pick yourselves up and start making your way back towards a monastery. Clovis, do you head back?
I offer my arm, like when we were at the ball.
Ash takes it.
And do you both head back to the monastery?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
No Killian? No Killian's around?
Yeah, we're kind of scouting for Killian on the way back.
Oh, by the way, Killian's fucked off.
Oh. Okay.
You two head back, and for the sake of brevity, you all go and get your head down for a long rest.
And I'd also just a few other just housekeeping things. I'd also like to give the goblin coin to Michael,
Okay.
the goblin that we got from GIF.
Oh,
And
right.
I'll say to him, he may come in handy in a pinch, but he knows you, so you should probably have this.
Fair enough.
So,
Sorry,
you
can I
all-
just- I know you want. I know you want to push this along, but there is.
We got stuff to do. No.
There's a little. So sort of knees to his chest against the wall, waiting for those two to come back through. I assume linked in arm. Jova's just sort of sat cross-armed, very pissed off, looking at the two of them as they like round the corner and goes, "So where the fuck have you two been?"
Taking in the scenery, what's left of it.
I'm guessing you agreed with him, Ash.
He's good at what he does.
Of course you fucking did. Okay. Well, seeing as I'm the only one who wants to keep this party together, but we're not going to, I suggest. And he reaches into the bag of colding, rummages around a little bit, and takes out the bottle of rye whiskey he bought fucking ages ago for whatever reason. Just holds it up.
Oh, yeah.
And just- I'm guessing we all need a drink right about now. Just like backs like a fair couple of glugs of this like harsh whiskey before handing it out.
I'll take it.
Both reach out at the same time.
He just pulls back like, just share, yeah? Idiot.
To the fallen, then.
The fallen.
Long shall we fight as one. All of us.
Even if we ain't together.
Exactly.
Like you can see, yeah, he said that through gritted teeth.
You guys enjoy a drink together, and you do eventually bed down for a long rest. The next morning, Ali...
I update Quintrith before I go to sleep.
That's fine. Ali, Jove, Ash, and Michael, you wake in the morning to find Clovis is gone. Left in the middle of the night. And that's where we're going to end tonight's session.
Jove breaks the room in half and leaves.
Yeah.
That's where we're going to end it tonight. We'll pick this back up next week. You guys have been amazing. That was one hell of a
Epic.
roleplay heavy session, but that was incredible. Well done to all of you.
That's what we do.
I know. I
This
know.
is what we do.
Thank you everyone at home for watching. We will see you on Thursday for Spelljammer. Make sure you tune in Thursday. Spelljammer Academy, another amazing session planned by Han.
Oh, yeah.
We will see you then. If not, we'll see you next week for the Fallen.
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
We'll see you next week. Bye.
Next week.
Bye.
Bye!